Hello, everyone, and welcome back to D&D&D&D&D campaign number 2 of Black Ink and Blue Blood. When we last left off, the party managed to, against all previously established odds and conventions, work together and make a plan. The party, taking advantage of their flying mounts and rocket boots, made their way up to Tropu's draconic airship that continued to bombard the Kingdom of Sundragon. Having fought through their entire outer cities and towns and villages and made their way to the capital. The party managed to make their way on board unseen, however, losing Gil's pet pteranodon from Ergos in the process.
Yeah.
As the party snuck around, Gil began to raid the treasures that Tropu Bikok displayed proudly along the metallic walkways of the airship. Lucien and Caro started making their way to the engines and plotting to destroy them and potentially overpower the crew. And Caleb searched high and low, mostly high, for the captain or any potential officers of the airship. However, the party found that Tropu's airship has been largely automated to run at the metallic claws of the robots that Kaloum appears to have provided the wheelchair-bound Tengu. As a golden dragon emerged from Capacitas to defend the city and its people, Tropu seemed to have gotten exactly what he wanted and neglected the siege in favor of capturing the beast. The beast fought valiantly, and the party literally breaking the sound barrier to run to its defense. However, the dragon, in defense of the party, was slain. However, in an attempt to deny Tropu his prize, Gil desecrated the corpse. However, that does not seem to have slowed down the robots any. And grabbing the party sans Caleb and Lucien, Gil is making to fly away from the airship. Caleb is trapped on board the command compartment as the captain has been assassinated by none other than Caleb himself, sniping Tropu Bikok through bulletproof glass from across the office room and landing a very impressive headshot. And Lucien, in a panic whenever the Golden Dragon began to lay waste to the airship, the very flammable airship, leapt off of the side and used Featherfall to save themselves on the way down. However, in all this chaos, one party member is unaccounted for. Zephyr.
Yes.
As you and Red make your way across the desert surrounding Capacitas, again, it's going to take you some time to get where you need to go. Do you wish to speed up your journey and potentially break stealth? You've gotten away from the primary site of battle at this point, as at this point the party's exploration of the airship has been going well into the late afternoon. So with that said, night will likely be falling soon. So do you wish to try and be in the city by nightfall, or simply just keep going at your current pace?
Mainly up to Red, because Zephyr's been holding back on his speed. I guess Zephyr will look to Red and be like, can you go much faster than this?
Easily. While you guys were dealing with whatever it was you were dealing with in that underground city, I started getting the hang of exactly what I'm capable of.
What is that exactly?
I'm fast, I can climb, and I can go unseen whenever I need to.
Uh, okay. I guess we should pick up speed then.
Sounds good. Zephyr, you and your comrade break stealth to begin running towards the city walls. As I'm assuming your plan is just to climb them.
I mean, if you can climb the walls, and I'll just walk up them.
All right. Uh, at this point, again, you are several hours away from the main site of battle. Um, you can see volleys of arrows, the occasional burst of gunfire, and the squealing and metallic shrieking of the robots that continue to pile on top of each other in an attempt to climb the Sun Dragon walls. And Zephyr, assuming you're going as fast as you can at this point, what is your top speed exactly? Just so I can figure out what the difference between you and Red is going to be.
Well, I mean, I'll slow down for red. Top speed, though. That's. Hold on. We'll grab a calculator here.
Fast boy.
That times 3, 135. That's his top speed.
Okay. Red can keep up with you at a run, but not at a sprint. So basically, you can speed up. You just can't go at your top speed.
Yeah, I figured.
I
figured. He's still slow, boy.
Slow, quote unquote. Still faster than the entire party, just not you. And before you say anything, Gil, yes, he is faster than you at a run. All right. Picking up into a run, but not a full sprint for you. You make your way across the sands towards the Sun Dragon walls. And with that, the Sun Dragon walls begin to come more clearly into your view. The walls themselves obviously look fairly solid. This is clearly a kingdom that expects conflict. The walls, you notice, are littered with various posters and graffiti of some kind. And as you get closer and get a closer look at them, you see that the posters and graffiti appear to be Geogran propaganda against Sun Dragon that the Sun Dragons have simply let proudly hang on the walls, almost a show of defiance to the stratocracy that they conquered to establish their Yavik claim. You can see graffiti in Elvish and posters written in Elvish, which I don't believe you can read. But you can definitely see that there is a sense of hostility to Sun Dragon. You can see, while not Queen Sun Dragon herself, you can see a older woman that does somewhat resemble her, presumably her mother, with the shadow of a dragon behind her. And overall, the visage is one of fear and evil. And judging from the Elvish print written by the Geograns themselves. As you approach the propaganda-dotted walls of Capacitas, the Sun Dragon capital, Red and you kind of looking up at the tall walls over you, which don't appear completely unguarded, but most of the attention is on the distant battle, obviously. It appears what guards are still here are just patrolling to keep away any potential stragglers that make their way this far out to the outer walls. You don't appear to have been seen yet, but a scaling of the walls could go noticed. With that said, Zephyr, what would you like to do?
I guess Zephyr will look to Red and be like, I guess just in case, you should take this for now. He's going to hand him the earpiece.
He kind of looks at it with a somewhat just kind of neutral expression. He's a bit hard to read, but after a while, what are you thinking? Think we should split up? Do you have a destination in mind?
Hmm. Well, unless we can get well, if we can get to where, a potential spot to steal from tonight, I would say we go for somewhere we can rest.
All right. Big city. They got a lot more going on right now than us. Shouldn't be too hard.
Hopefully hopefully their banks are not as, active as last one.
Well, if you're not planning to go through the front door, let's get climbing.
Alright, Zephyr will just kind of start walking up the wall.
All right. And are you trying to remain stealthy?
Yeah. I don't want these guys to know I'm here yet.
Yet. All right. Make me a stealth check.
Alright. This thing I'm good at. Worried about red, though. Ooh, not as good as I would.
My horrible demon son slowing me down.
Well, you say that. I rolled pretty poorly. 15.
Okay.
The dice collided with each other. I was like, nah, let's just both be bad.
Okay. So 15 total for you?
Yeah, a 6 and a 7, so.
Okay. And for red, doing some quick math. Okay. The two of you begin to snake your way, in Red's case, quite literally, up the side of the walls. And you make it about halfway up before you see a Sun Dragon patrol starting to work their way past. Again, gazes are mostly on the distant battle, but they are still watching their immediate surroundings. And Zephyr, you're going up a flat wall. There's not exactly anywhere to hide. And you're focused on just staying kind of low to the wall and kind of quietly Spider-Manning your way up and evading the notice of the patrols who just occasionally go by along the top of the walls, watching the desert sands for robots, but not knowing to look out for two relatively small reptilians. However, as a patrol is coming by from the right side towards the north, you again kind of go low to the ground and wait for them to pass a bit before continuing your walk up. But you find yourself stopped as Red's tail wraps around you and presses you into the side of the wall, and you hear him just let out in thieves' cant, "Hello, stop!" And looking up, you see that Red had just stopped you from getting spotted by a patrol coming from the south that you hadn't seen. Once the southern patrol passes, Red's tail uncurls, and he just gives you a quiet nod and continues to slide up the wall. And as he starts to get ahead of you now, again, similar to you keeping low to the ground, you notice that whereas you have the excuse of magical shoes, you actually can't see what it is about him that allows him to do what he's doing. His tail simply sticks to the wall and allows him to work his way up, almost like a climbing centipede, but without any visible legs. It's a very unusual visage, watching this serpentine humanoid making their way up the wall with all of the simplicity and grace that you are, but with no obvious magical answer to why or how.
Yeah. Alrighty then.
By the time you guys are starting to reach the top of the walls, you just make your way over the crest. Red takes a quick peek to the north, to the south, and snakes his way over the side and allows you to walk up after him. And the two of you, keeping low and watching for patrols, your concentration on staying quiet is briefly and frighteningly interrupted by a distant roaring. And you see the battle going on the airship itself several hours away. The dragon fighting for its life against an onslaught of robots and roaring and breathing its weakening fumes in an attempt to slow down the onslaught. And Red kind of watching with all the same impassivity as you, just, well, seems like they got their hands full.
Yes, it does seem like they're dealing with a bit more than they probably could chew.
Our guys are their guys.
Mixture of both.
Come on. Let's find somewhere to lay low for the night.
All right.
The two of you, sticking to the outer walls, start snaking your way inside Capacitas. And now that you're over the walls, you actually get a better view of the city itself and can kind of start to feel out a lay of the land, so to speak, of what you're looking at. The infrastructure itself is definitely and obviously Yavik. Once you get over the side of the walls, the inside of the city itself is actually relatively quiet for a capital city, although given that they are at active war, you imagine the population is either fighting or hiding in their homes for now, as you can still see the robotic dragons circling the skies. Most of the infrastructure is very large and towering, almost matching the surrounding mountains themselves. You can see a massive domed cathedral. It's uncertain at a glance if this was a Gyogran construction or Sun Dragon after they had claimed it. And the mountains surrounding shadow you from onlookers to a degree. While, again, most of the buildings are relatively tall, you can get a very easy view of what goes where, so to speak. It's one of the more traditional cities you've been in a while, which is, for you, probably something of a relief that you finally have a city whose design is more straightforward by your standards. Mm-hmm. Even from this distance, you can see museums, monuments, and all sorts of things that definitely look like they could potentially be profitable. And from where you are on the outer walls, you can see that there's a field of various parks and farmland on the outside of the city before cutting deeper in. So you have a little bit of open land to cross before you get into the depths of the city itself. But even from here, you can see several appealing targets. And you notice that to the west, out towards the open polar sea, you expect to see a dock with several ships on it, but you actually don't see anything. Just this kind of cracking crater-spotted cliffside that overlooks the sea. And other than some sand, you don't see anything that there's even a beach there, let alone a dock. Presumably, whatever battle Sun Dragon fought with Gyogre to land here did some damage to the shore. And finally, towards the east, you can see a river surrounded by aquifers and sewer linings that flows out into the open polar sea. As you and Red start snaking your way down a set of stone stairs that allow people at the bottom of the walls up to the top, is there any particular destination you want to go to for your purposes of resting? You have farmland and fields to the south with a bunch of parks, the center of the city where there's just a bunch of tall buildings, the western coastline, which is mostly just cliffs and sand, the northern area, which is rivers, aquifers, and sewers, and of course the east side, which is where the primary battle is being fought.
Getting into the Zephyr mindset, each side obviously would be least viable, as it would be there'd be most action there. Farmland, well, we could hide there and then go into the more populated city. Would be we could do that, but you know, since I assume the animals won't, rat on us, at least not right away.
Yeah, you see a cow and just thief.
How far away is the farmland?
The farmland is basically right where you are. Basically, the moment you get off the walls and maybe an hour tops, and again, that's tops, you'd be in the farmland. And at that point, it's just open fields, parks, farms. All of the agriculture seems to be taking place on the south side of the city. As the north and east sides have too much construction going on to do that, and the west side was too damaged by the battle Sun Dragon fought against Gyogre.
Well, I guess, do you want to, I guess, should we stay in the, sort of farm areas so that we can rest up there? Probably shouldn't be too much problem.
Yeah. And you notice Red's watching the skies where the various robotic dragons. This area is not too occupied by them, but you notice that once you get to the core of the city, the dragons continue to circle, occasionally diving in, and you can hear fighting start up wherever they land. And Red kind of ponders for a bit. Probably would be the smartest move. I was originally thinking maybe heading to the north side, seeing if there was any locals we could recruit. Thieves tend to hang out in sewers, but too much action on the way there, we'd be spotted.
Plus, I don't know if I would really care to get involved with the locals here just yet.
Not looking to share the profits?
Less that and more just I don't know them, so it's hard to simply trust them enough to know that they won't say something to the wrong person, or more on the plus side. I would like to do this either, I guess, by myself or with one other person. Try to keep it as little as possible for my own reasons.
Fair dinkum. And he hesitates for a moment as you guys are descending down the stairway stealthily and switches to Thieves' Cant, speaking in a low, coded whisper. Assuming we find anything of value, what do you plan to do with it?
I guess that would depend on the value. But if it's an item that I would have to sell, I guess I just need to find a place to accept that item.
You saw that beast that just flew out of the city. That was a gold dragon. And where there's a dragon, there's a horde.
I mean, out of character, they're dying anyways. No.
Yeah, at this point, because you're behind the walls, you can't see what's happening with the dragon. As far as you know, that battle's still happening.
As tempting as that may be, I'm not sure if I'm willing to go up against that. If that thing survives that counter, then fighting, I'm not sure what it's capable of and what it can be if it can track us.
Fair. We'll see what becomes of it after we get some rest. If it's dead, I'll say we try and salvage what we can of its belongings. If not, then we'll move on whatever's valuable around here. With any luck, that ship will stay moving through the night, unless you think our allies can actually shut it down.
They've given a couple surprises here and there, so possibly.
He kind of gives like a small nod and, all right, let's find an empty farmhouse to stay for the night, and with any luck we can be in and out after a bit of time.
Alright, I guess we'll get going now.
Alright. You and your mutant son make your way to the bottom of the walls and start sneaking and slithering your way towards the distant farmlands, hopefully finding an either empty spot in the fields or an abandoned farm in general where you can rest for the night. As the sun begins to set and night is preparing to fall on the battle, the robots continue to fight, not knowing yet what has become of their master. And for all any of you know, their orders may supersede Tropu's own, whatever Kaloum told them to do. With that said, as Caleb begins to wiggle his way out of the air vents, and Lucian continues to fall to a death only preventable by Featherfall. Gil, as you fly away from the dragon being dragged off by the much smaller dragon bots, holding Caro and Raccoon aloft as you survey the destruction taking place on the airship as mechanical menaces continue to surge and continue dragging the dragon away faster and faster. Gil, you're driving, so to speak. What would you like to do?
Can I do a perception check to see if I can figure out where Caleb's at?
Make a perception check.
That is 17.
Okay. And Caleb, as you wiggle your way out of the vents, are you continuing to make an effort to stealth, or are you just going to bank on Tropu's death being enough of a destabilizer to not have to worry about it?
I think Caleb isn't going to be trying to stealth at this point. He's just trying to clamber out of the thing. and try not to get left behind.
Okay.
Because I think he had some idea that something was going on outside.
Okay.
Well, I think he saw the dragon before he got in the vent.
Yeah. But by the time you got into the vents, the dragon was already fighting off the robot horde. Okay. Gil, you fly the lovely ladies you're carrying towards the stern command blimps and just start surveying the area, looking to where the party's assassin could have gotten off to, as he is the only member of the party who is not currently accounted for, at least to some degree. As you survey, you do manage to see a small boot wiggling its way out of the air vent, and you see Caleb's lithe form begin to kind of slowly backwards slide their way out of the vent, and dragging the laser rifle behind them, land onto the metal ground of the blimp. Caleb, as you reemerge and kind of take a brief look at your surroundings, knowing that one of the serpents is very close, and given that it had left its patrol to search for you earlier, you're not exactly sure where it is at the moment, but chancing a quick peek around the corner of the dome-like structure of the blimp, you see the dragon, several limbs gone and decapitated, bleeding heavily over the Capacitasian desert as the robots drag it towards the blimp where you're currently positioned. And you recall seeing those harpoon guns that the goblins and Tengu were preparing to fire. And the plan that these things were forming starts to piece itself together. But before you can ruminate on that too much, all of you hear a voice over the intercom. Not Tropu's own, a new one that to most of you is unfamiliar. We have a slight problem. There's been a change in command. Machines, make sure nothing happens to my body. The rest of you, search this vessel top to bottom. Find whoever shot our boss and make sure he gets what's coming to him. But not before he gets a thank you from me. You saved me the trouble.
Okay. What do you think the odds are that they knew where the shot came from?
It's... I'll say this much. There's not exactly a lot of options of where it could have come from. There's only 3 entrances into that room, and they could certainly see the hole you melted into the window, so it couldn't have come from inside. So they know that the only place they could be is this very blimp.
No, I mean, like, well, they know it came from the vent of all places.
That's more up to you, although I'll tell you what, I'll let you make an investigation check to try and, like, deduce where they're likely to search.
Alright, hang on, let me get my sheet up. Bam.
Problem is that
Okay.
you left a clue behind where you shot from.
What role is it?
I'm going to call this an investigation check.
9.
It's possible, but you're not sure. But you're reasonably confident that, like, even if they could deduce it, it's going to take time. The main concern you have is that you have limited places to hide, and the only way off this blimp, where is probably where they're going to be primarily searching, is jumping.
Does Caleb see Gil coming?
Yeah, he's not hiding, so I'll say, yeah, you see Gil on the way.
Okay. Caleb's gonna wait for Gil to get over here, and then he's gonna try to figure out what to do. He did not
Okay.
anticipate that killing Tropu wouldn't be enough.
Yeah, chain of command, baby.
kill one, another head appears, Hydra.
Hail Hydra.
Yeah.
Son of a bitch. A
Gil?
fucking zombie scared the shit out of me.
Gil, as mentioned, you are able to see your assassin. However, you are able to see from your elevated and distant perspective something that Caleb has not. The moment that order was belted out, the serpent that was originally hanging by the door starts to immediately survey its surroundings. And Caleb is not too far from its current position.
So, for lack of a better way to put this, Gil's gonna look at Caro and Raccoon. Think y'all can help me distract that thing before it finds Caleb?
Yes.
Can do?
And he's gonna continue going that way.
All right. And Caro, what would you like to do to attempt to distract the serpent?
Is this also a robot? Can I
Yes.
tell? Okay.
No, yeah, these are all robots. You can tell. They're not exactly made to be androids. They're literally just wires and cloth and metal just stitched together.
Hmm. Sorry, I'm looking at all the things I can do.
Yeah.
Also, would Gil have seen Caro fill her flask with the dragon blood?
Caro, were you attempting to do that stealthily?
No.
Then, yeah, I'll say you would have seen it.
Caro, could you also fill one of these needles as he hands her the race replacer with some of that dragon blood?
Yeah. That's what I was.
Okay.
Immediately when you mentioned blood, I was like, I knew he was planning. I knew he was doing. He's trying to turn into a dragon.
All right. Caro, that narrows down what you're going to be doing. And Raccoon, readying their laser pistol, kind of squinting a bit against the wind and the sheer distance between you guys and the headquarters blimp, just kind of pats you on the shoulder, Gil, and get me closer. I can't reach it.
He's going to try to
Bring
pick
me
up the
closer.
space.
I want to hit it with my sword.
Caleb, you see Gil, Raccoon, and Caro making their way. Caro seems to be fiddling with something in their hands. Raccoon has their pistol at the ready, and Gil is flying towards you. But again, the ship is very large, and it's going to take them a little bit to get to you. What would you like to do?
I already said he's waiting for them.
Okay. The serpent, for its part, kind of looming its head, which again seems to be haphazardly constructed out of a toy, surveys the surroundings for a moment, and once its little plasticine eyes land on Gil and the three of you flying towards it, its eyes begin to flash rapidly with that same hypnotic energy. However, at this point, all three of you have resisted it enough to be immune to it for the rest of the day. So fighting that and doing this all quickly has saved you. And the creature, protectively closing its metallic and cloth hood over its head, lets out a low warble and you all hear Brogdu's voice over the intercom again. Arranging a pickup, are we? Dragons, bring them out of the sky. I don't care if you have to rip them apart, and I don't care what Dr. Knight says. Rip them to shreds, drain every last bit of ichor from their bodies. And
as soon as I hear that, can I land?
Sure.
I'm going to drop Caro and Raccoon, and then he's using the race replacer.
All right, Caro, you're doing this in the air, trying not to stop holding on to Gil while doing this. So do me a solid.
He's holding on to her.
Oh, no, I'm aware, but like they're still like jangling around in the air. So, Caro, make me a dexterity check.
At 24.
Okay. Okay. It takes you a little bit of doing, but as Gil tightens their grip on you to free up your hands, you manage to, as cleanly as you're gonna, draw blood from your vial. You fill up one of the syringes of the race replacer as Gil lands on the ground.
Bad.
He doesn't have much of a choice. He's already weakened from the previous fight.
No, I get it. I'm just like, man, it's gonna be interesting.
Have I landed yet?
You're about to. We're going to come back to you in just a moment. Gil, landing. Caro, do you hand the loaded race replacer to Gil?
Yeah.
Okay. Gil, as you take the race replacer, you're just going to inject yourself with the gold dragon blood?
Yes.
All right. Gil, you ensure that the loaded syringe is readied. Jab. Where are you going to jab yourself out of curiosity, just for flavor?
Leg.
All right. Jabbing the barrel of the syringe gun into your leg, you pull the trigger and you can feel it inject you and begin to fill your leg with blood. You wait. You saw Zephyr do this, so it should only take a few seconds to kick in. And as you can see, a horde of the dragon bots start to kind of break off from the flock and make their way towards you. Nothing happens.
I was worried that would happen. He puts it away and prepares for combat.
All right. Keto, what are you going to do?
She'll pull out a crossbow.
Okay. Raccoon, kind of looking around urgently, readies their laser pistol as the horde of dragons begins making their way towards you. Lucian.
Hi.
You come to the requested, I believe you said it was 400 feet up you wanted to cast it?
It was 60, but I mean, you could, I think you could do it up to like, do it fairly high up for it.
Yeah, so yeah, just how high up? Because at this point you're going to hit the ground in a few seconds. So, like, at about what distance do you want to cast Featherfall?
sorry. I was talking and I didn't realize I was muted.
No worries.
So I'm not sure what the spell says. Let's see.
It's like every
60 feet per round.
Yeah, for like 10 rounds, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you can go up to 600 feet if you wish, but it'll just take you longer to get to the ground.
Yeah, I don't want to take too long getting to the round, so like I'd say 100 feet, maybe.
All right. The airship continues to get...
doom.
Yeah, the airship continues to get further and further away from you. The spinning turbine that you had banged your head on swirling above you. And as you look down to see the desert sands rising up rapidly to meet you, what would surely be a fatal impact, you say a prayer, mumble a spell, and whoosh, cast Featherfall. Your descent halts almost immediately, and you can feel your stomach like roll and drop as if you had just taken a sharp fall on an elevator.
And I hate elevators.
Before you start to drift slowly down.
Okay, as soon as I'm on the ground, do I see any, like, is there any way back up?
No.
There's, like, no rope, there's nothing?
Nope. From what you've seen, the robots literally just jump from the airship, land on the ground in pods, and then disperse out into the desert to go join the battle. So there's no, like, ropes or anything to allow them back up. And really, there wouldn't be much need anyway, as the dragons can fly, and the serpents and tigers are just basically there to fight until destroyed.
Okay. My next question is, how far up is, like, the bottom of the airship? Like, the very, very bottom.
The airship is... I actually have this noted. 1 second. Given that you just flew up that distance and then fell that distance, you have a pretty good feel of what kind of distance you're looking at. The airship is 2,400 feet in the air.
Oh boy, that's gonna be a trip. Okay, that's not gonna work. I was gonna try to levitate, but it only lets you go vertically up 20 feet. I'm not really sure I really understand the spell. Do I because it seems like it's like as if you were climbing. So I was gonna see if, like, there was a way I could, Spider-Man my way up.
Range rise vertically up to 20 feet, remains suspended there. Yeah, you would rise and then stay suspended. So, and you can change it by 20 feet on your turn, but that only lasts up to 10 minutes. So, in theory, let me see how high you could get within the duration. So it's 20 feet per turn for 10 minutes. 10 minutes would be, because it's...
Like 1 minute is 10, so it'd be 200 for 1 minute. Just times that by 10, so 2,000.
So you could get over the course of 10 minutes before the spell is about to wear off, you could get yourself 2,000 feet up, which would mean you still have another 400 to go to get to the bottom of the airship.
Could I misty step to kind of fill the gap?
This step doesn't go that far.
Yeah.
It doesn't go that far?
It's only
I think it's 30 feet.
I guess I could cast it again. I could cast it twice.
Yeah, so it would take some doing, but yeah, I'd be willing to, with 2 casts of levitation, yes, if you cast levitation twice, because you could get to the end of the extension, fall, but cast it again while you're falling, and then rise up over the course of I'd say probably about another 7 minutes, 8 minutes. So basically it would take you about close to 20 minutes to get to the bottom, but you could get up there with 2 uses of levitate.
I'll go ahead and do that. Lucian just instantly regretted jumping ship, so she's just gonna get up there and try to be useful.
All right. You kind of Looking around at the
Those two
desert,
down.
you can see the distant battle taking place several hours west, and you know that your caravan is several hours east of you now. So, kind of rolling your eyes and shrugging your shoulders, you recall the 30-minute trip that you took to get up the first time. And levitate, you believe, can get you up there faster, but even then, it's gonna be a while and a lot of focus. So, you cast levitate and begin to rise.
And just like kind of like groan to myself, like I literally just did this.
I'm going to say it right now, not out of dislike for Lucian, just because I think it's, like, to me, very funny. I really hope that Lucian gets up there with those 2 uses of levitation, only for the battle to be over.
Yeah, when she gets there, she's like, I'm ready to go, and everybody's like, where the fuck were you?
Yeah.
You know what? I'm still gonna take out the fucking cannon. Leave me alone.
Yeah, you just, like, storm off to go deal with the cannon.
I think that would be hilarious. No, I'm not gonna lie.
All right.
But I already marked 2 of the spells, so that way it's already marked down.
Okay, if anything stops you, I'll mention so you can get one of those slots back. But you begin to rise upwards via levitation.
That's a lot of rounds.
I believe I can fly.
That
This
said,
is one of my new wizard spells.
now
You learned while falling, you know?
Ironic, isn't it?
I mean, to be fair, I would say, like, it's honestly not that unreasonable, I would argue, given that, like, fucking, I would say it's not.
30 minutes.
Yeah, yeah, she fell for several minutes, and I think that's plenty of time to start constructing a spell to try and save yourself or get yourself back up whenever she presumably mid-fall realized, I shouldn't have fucking jumped.
Yeah, no, that's exactly. I want to just like, let's make it canon. She just instantly started constructing. Okay, how the fuck am I going to get back up there?
Well,
Yeah, and
that wasn't her first thought when she was
following
falling. Her first thought when she jumped was, oh shit, turbine.
Yeah, no. Her first thought was, oh, I fucked up.
I first told her when she jumped.
All right, now, for those of you...
Yeah, but I honestly forgot I had it.
For those of you battling the dragon bots, this is gonna be a little wonky, given that, because I was planning for the future of this campaign for mass combat to be a thing, but I'll freely admit, was not prepared for it to happen now. So I kind of quickly brewed together a homebrew so that you guys can just fight the swarm of the dragons as if they were one cohesive monster.
Nice.
So, with that said, however, given that, again, you guys are technically fighting a swarm, I'm going to say that for expenses of ammunition and expenses of charges on items, the fighting the swarm will cost double what it normally does. Since, Caro shooting down 1 or 2 in a turn doesn't exactly mean a whole lot when there's like a million of them. It's like several hundred. So, but I'm willing to rule it that way for this battle, that basically you'll use up double your ammo and charges, but otherwise we'll fight them as if they were one cohesive swarm of monsters, which they sort of are. So, that said, that being said, though, again, the dragons are flying your way, but it's going to take them a little while to get there. Is there anything the 3 of you, well, 2 of you, since Raccoon is NPC at the moment, is there anything the 2 of you want to do while the dragons are making their way towards you?
Oh, 3, because Caleb's
Keep
there, right?
heading towards Caleb.
Well, Caleb's off on his own and like an hour or 2 away from where they are.
We're going to. I would like to keep heading towards Caleb.
All right. Kara, are you going to join?
I suppose. Probably shouldn't split up now.
Yeah, all right. And yeah, as you see Gil start running off towards the blimp where you guys saw Caleb, Kero, you again think that exact thought to yourself. Bad idea to split up now, as you can see the literal cloud of robots heading towards you. So, getting Raccoon's attention, the three of you start bolting towards the stern of the ship. Caleb, again, you have like an hour or two to kill. Do you want to hide to avoid detection, or are you just going to chill and wait for the barbarian to rescue you?
I think Caleb see like the swarm is approaching them.
I'll say, given your elevated position, you can see the three of them making their way towards you, and the swarm is approaching them. They don't seem to know you're here yet, but you did just hear Brogdon order them to search this blimp top to bottom to find you. And even at Gil's top speed...
So he knows that they're going to get hit.
Yeah, and you also know that... again, this ship is huge, so it's going to take them a couple hours to get to where you are.
Right. So, Caleb is going to take a chance, and he's going back in to try and kill this other guy.
Yeah, that's my boy.
Okay. Make me a stealth check.
And hope that if this guy will be the guy that will send them into a panic if he dies. So stealth check?
Yes.
And sound is a factor, right?
Yeah, I'll say so, since you're like wiggling back up into the air vent, and again, the robots and goblins are outright looking for you at this point, so...
Okay, so advantage... That'll be... Okay, that'll be... It's going to be... Yeah, I'm going to get my calculator up just to be sure the math is right. I'm fairly certain it is. I'm fairly certain. Yeah, it'll be a 29.
Woo!
Okay.
Well done.
Well, he gets plus 11 to stealth, so...
All right. Caleb, as you start to do the math, it's going to take them hours to get to you. They have an entire swarm of robots to deal with. And...
Can Caleb remember a Geogrin salute? I'm sure his people have encountered Geogrins before.
Well, then you've seen Gil do it himself.
Okay, what was it?
Their salute is a crossing of the arms to display their tattoos to indicate their rank.
Alright, Caleb is going to give him a salute as he goes back in to kill this dude. Basically to let him know that Caleb sees you, but I got something to do.
Yeah, so yeah, I'll say for funsies, Gil, with your elvish eyes, what do your elf eyes see, as they say? You can just make out the distant form of Caleb reemerge from a hiding spot, kind of contemplate the situation for a moment before giving you the Geogrin salute you had given to indicate your rank in the past, and climb up into the air vent he's already broken to presumably do what he had done again, as you guys just found out from Brogdu's announcement that Caleb successfully assassinated Tropu.
Yeah, I'll quickly return it.
Okay.
Caleb's gonna scamper up in there like the little scamp he is.
All right. And none too soon. Similar to the first time, as you wiggle your way in, being a little faster now, as at this point they know you're here. You hear the metallic serpent pass by the air vent, and this time it stays there for a long moment, scanning the entire area much more thoroughly. As this time it has direct orders to find you, and if what Brogdu orders any indication, rip you apart and drain every last drop of ichor from your body.
Damn. And Caleb gave them such a quick death.
No one ever said Brogdu was merciful.
Hopefully he's not super strong whenever he's not combined with his thing yet.
All right. Caleb, I'll say your situation comes first, since yours would be the quickest to resolve by far. Caleb, wiggling your way, rifle at the ready, you make your way towards the shattered air vent, or shattered is a strong word, but the very heavily bent vent.
Can he make out Brogdon? Can he get a line of sight on him?
Make a perception check.
I get +9 to perception. That'll be a 21.
All right. Caleb, crawling your way through the vents once again, laser rifle at the ready. You approach the broken vent, and this time, however, you can't just press your face up into it. As you approach, you have to kind of pause for a second, as with the stealth roll you rolled last time and the investigation that the robots are rolling to find you, while they don't know you're in here yet, or you would be attacked already, you can see the gleaming lights of the vent that you shot from last time being coated in the gleaming light up eyes of the various robots, as they appear to have found the damage you left to the vent and are watching it carefully.
Vent connected to another vent.
Yes, I will say that taking a look around, you see that there is a vent above you that kind of curves around the circumference of the blimp, and you did see with your previous perception in this room that there was a vent on the opposite side.
Can Caleb wiggle his way into that passage? Quietly.
You can certainly try. Make me an athletics or acrobatics check, your choice.
And then a stealth check?
Yes.
Okay, that's going to be an 18 for the acrobatics. Ouch. And then a 19 for the stealth.
Okay. All right. Caleb, thinking quickly, you shoulder your rifle, and it's a bit difficult because, again, you're operating at a crawl in this vent. You press your hands against the side of the vent that goes upward and start to basically do that, like, hand and feet in opposite directions, like perpendicular climb, you know? It's awkward and difficult, and for your less than stellar strength, a trying experience, especially because you're trying to do it quietly, but you're willing to take your time. This is what you were trained for: infiltration and assassination. If there's one thing you have, it's patience. And you gradually start wiggling your way upwards, across, and down the various vents of this blimp. Once you reach the top crest of it, you actually see that there's a vent going just straight upward, presumably to allow the rising heat to filter into these vents, go upward, and then out into the balloon. Yet another way of keeping this machine aloft. And in this area, it is boiling hot, and the metal at this point is getting actively painful for you to touch.
Yeah, let me see what Caleb has in his inventory. Does he have, like, any kind of... I'm trying to see if he might have anything he can use to, like, you know, cover some of himself to not get, you know, too burned.
Mm-hmm.
Don't need another gill.
In his bag of holding, he does have his old studded leather armor. Could he use some of that as, like...
Kind of to sled your way?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll allow that. It's creative. Pressing your... taking out your old set of armor before you got this new set, you press it to the burning ground and start to kind of sled your way across, still trying to stay quiet. And it's also getting very difficult to breathe. You're sweating, and the sweat is like getting in your eyes. It's getting hard to breathe with all this heat, especially because you're right under the primary or one of the primary balloons. And you're basically pressing your sopping wet body into leather to just slide your way across this metal vent. And it is with no small amount of relief whenever you see the drop off into the next, into the opposite vent coming. And as you start now having to do the same thing but downwards, knowing that if you slip with all the sweat on your arms, you are going to fall, it's going to be loud, and you're going to be trapped in a vent with robots on all sides. Make me an athletics or an acrobatics check to get down safely, and then make me a stealth check to get down quietly.
Okay. That is going to be for the acrobatics. Going to be +7, 23. And then for the stealth, it's going to be 16.
Okay. Caleb, climbing your way down what is effectively upside down as blood begins to rush to your head, and you have to press yourself against, basically doing that climb the Grinch does in the animated Dr. Seuss one, where he has to kind of wiggle his way down butt first. You're basically having to do that business. You're soaking wet, gasping for breath, but you can see the bottom and the lights coming from the central operating area. And as you wiggle yourself free, there's not exactly a great way to cushion your fall, and you land with a very heart-stopping of the metal buckling under your weight as you drop down into the vent, and you freeze.
I think it's the vent settling.
Yeah, you freeze, and you can see several robots respond to the noise, but other than a glance inside the vent and you like press yourself into the darkness as if hoping it'll camouflage you, they pass by. As you start getting yourself into position to start searching for and potentially snipe Bragdu, I will say, with all the good rolls you have so far, I will throw you a bone. Your weapon is quiet, and your weapon is accurate, and unfortunately, however, your weapon is not hard to see. It's one thing to shoot an arrow from a distance where if you don't see the direction it comes from, it's hard to track. The laser from your weapon is going to glow, and at this point, they know an assassin is on the blimp and are looking for him.
Basically, once he takes his shot, he's going to have to move quickly.
Yes, and you know that
it'll just be a matter of time before they figure out where that red streak of light came from.
And there's only so many places you can go. Your options are back out where the serpent is, up into the burning hot balloon, or out into the open. And even then, you'd have to break down the vent to do that.
Yeah. Also, he'd probably rather take his chances running from the serpent.
Caleb, as you wiggle yourself forward carefully, the robots are watching the vent, but not as closely. It's going to be difficult. It's not going to be an easy shot, as this time you can't just press the barrel through, and even then, this one's not bent like the last one is. This is going to be one of the most difficult shots you'll possibly ever make in your life. However, as you start scoping for your target before even thinking about firing, it takes you a bit of searching, but you can see the hole that you left in the bulletproof opaque glass where you can make out the shadows and visages. You can see the dead body of Tropu left where it lay. And from the, again, somewhat mangled, not mangled as in the body, but mangled as in, the glass distorting your view, you can just make out that, indeed, as you predicted, your shot blew his head clean off, basically. A crater where a head once was. And after some searching...
That's superheating for you.
Yeah. After some searching, you can just make out, cowering behind Tropu's chair, hiding under the desk, the greasy black head of Bragdu.
So So I could just make him out.
You basically can just see the crest of his forehead, and you have to hit that target without being able to stabilize your aim, and once again, through bulletproof glass, and unlike Tropu, he has cover.
So is this going to be disadvantage?
Not only is this going to be disadvantage has stacked on you so many times at this point that his AC has effectively almost doubled.
So impossible.
No, I did not say impossible. I said difficult.
Let's see.
Caleb, do you wish to attempt to shoot the goblin?
The lowest his AC could be is the lowest an AC can be is 10, because that's like the minimum. It's mostly 10 plus modifier.
Yeah, that is the lowest average.
So like on average, he has 20 AC, and I have only a +3 to hit. Caleb is going to write this shot off as impossible, and just simply take his chances leaving.
Okay.
I mean, unless he can, like, do something like just open the vent just enough that the barrel will fit, and then just the very tip of the barrel goes through. Like, not enough to actually protrude out the other end. Unless I could do something like that, because then that might stabilize it, and maybe it might become a little more possible with the stabilized shot. Well, that's up to you if that's possible or not. So.
Oh well, I'll say yeah. You could basically stabilize the gun. The problem is that again, this is a very very small vent. You had to bend the last one to be able to fit the barrel through. So yeah, you'd effectively have to fire between the slits and hit a very small, precise target that's very far away.
Could he bend it again without being seen?
You can try.
What does he think the likelihood of that being possible is?
Make an intelligence check.
Intelligence check. So let me scroll up. +2. 17.
Much like the shot itself, it is certainly possible, but it's going to be difficult. Honestly, you've done it before. You honestly do think you can bend the bars again. As they're made to allow the easy transfer of heat. It's not that they're like crazy strong. The problem is going to be doing so quietly when the vent is being actively watched and observed by the bots. Firing without bending them will make the shot harder, but give you much more time to work with to get out, and also decrease the odds that you'll be spotted before you even get the chance.
But if he tries this and fails, he could just run.
Yes.
As if he basically he could just split without taking the shot.
Indeed.
And he'd probably have at least enough time to get out and just run, because he can disengage his opponent's action.
Mm-hmm.
So he is going to try to be quiet and prepare the vent again.
All right. Make me a strength check.
Fortunately, he is not good at strength. He has a -1.
Yeah.
14.
All right. And now make me a stealth check.
Since you said it's difficult, so is my advantage going to be canceling out a disadvantage?
Well, no, you don't have disadvantage. I was more saying it's difficult because basically before you were operating on nothing but the passive perception of the goblins. Now there are robots in here who are actively looking for you. So every time you're rolling stealth at this point, you do still have your advantage because it's muffling the noise. But the problem is that I can roll to see if they find you rather than just banking on a generally somewhat low passive.
All right. It's going to be a 29.
Okay. Pressing your fingers. You take the
I was thinking he's probably using a dagger as leverage.
Also fair. Pressing your dagger between the bars, being careful to wait until you can see the robot's attention slip to like glance at one of the goblins walking by or check their immediate surroundings to avoid you sneaking up behind them and stabbing them in the back. It's slow going. You have to sit there for quite a while doing so, but you do start getting leverage and basically doing an improvised ply to force the bars apart.
Slowly, just kind of trying. He's probably. It's probably just less like just sheer strength bending it, and more just repeated stress on the metal slowly bends it.
Yeah, and you're basically like sticking the dagger out, push, pulling it back in when the robots look, and having to do this. So it's going to take you a while, but I will say you do start to make progress.
A while to get over here, anyways. So
yeah. But I will say you do start making progress, and you have not been detected yet. So you start working on separating the bars to give yourself a better angle to actually adjust your aim. If just basically shooting between the bars isn't going to cut it. We'll come back to you. Lucian. It takes you, I'd say, probably in the ballpark of like 20 minutes, especially if you want to get not just to the bottom, but actually to a standable place on the airship.
Yeah.
So you basically just jumped, fell, and then just from where you jumped, you're going to start levitating up?
Yeah.
All right. So as you're on your second use of levitation now, so bear in mind levitation is concentration, there is an obstacle. The spinning turbine that had clipped you when you first jumped. Do you wish to try and...
technically climbing, could I just like push myself against the boat?
You are not technically climbing, you are floating via levitation.
Well, it says that I could use it as if I was climbing. It says so in the spell.
Remain suspended. Let's levitate a target. Target can only move by pushing or pulling against a fist object surface within reach, which allows it to move. Well, that's if you're targeting someone else and they're trying to work against it.
Okay. Is there a way I can move around it?
It'll
myself too much?
So yeah, we've established you can move a maximum of 2,000 feet with this spell. Then you fell 500, so you're at 900 feet away. So yeah, about half the spell. So you have 5 minutes left of levitate. I'll say that yeah, with that you could get to the other side of the pathway. That basically levitate yourself in another direction. And then hoist yourself onto the path. However, I will point out that, and you can see from where you're floating up, even through the spinning turbine blades, the area is guarded. And you remember that the dragons are always on the lookout for aerial assault. You can attempt this, and that will get you past the turbine, but you will have to be stealthy or risk being detected by the literal army of robots.
I mean, I don't really see much of other choice.
Okay. Lucian, make me a stealth check.
Okay, what should I use? I'm going to use this one. It's okay. 19.
All right.
Wait. Yeah, 19.
Okay. Sorry, I was double checking something. Lucian, make me a dex save.
I can do that. Dex saving throw. Ooh, 22.
All right, you succeed the dex save, so you'll take half from this.
Okay.
Lucian, you take 9 piercing damage as you start basically levitating quietly on, like basically clinging to the bottom of the metal pathway, avoiding the swirling turbine behind you. And you start hoisting yourself over the pathway back onto the area where you had first jumped from. You can see the damage to the pathway, which only just barely avoided hitting the turbine itself. And as you pull yourself onto the pathway, you don't have a whole lot in the way of cover. When you and Caro were sneaking through this area, you had to basically chance it by hiding either behind pedestals that were displaying magic items or hiding in the crops that they were growing to feed themselves up here. And as you pull yourself onto the path, finally back on the airship, where you can see the sky is just a swarming mass of flying robots, and tigers and snake robots are all over the ship, searching for intruders and dragging the now having stopped bleeding actively dragon corpse toward the headquarters airship. However, that damage you took comes in the form of a harpoon being fired that pierces into your shoulder. And looking over your shoulder, you see one of the dragon bots had spotted you and gives a and starts trying to yank you off the side of the airship to drop you potentially to your death if you don't have another use of Featherfall. But even if you do, you do not want to make that flight again.
I really don't. I really don't.
It shouldn't take very long. It's like, what? Minute?
It's just like, welcome to the party. Am I back on the ship? Am I back on the ship?
Yes, you're on the ship, but at this point you have been confronted by one of the dragon bots. However, because it got an attack on you, that did use up its quote-unquote surprise, and if it's going to call for help, it hasn't done so yet. Lucian, roll for initiative.
Oh, cool. 18.
Okay.
Let's see, what can I do?
You have the initiative.
Sweet. I'm going. How far away is it from me?
It is 10 feet away from you.
Oh, okay. Is it in the sky or is it like?
Yeah, it's essentially 10 feet above you and is attempting to kind of drag you off the side.
All right, I'm going to cling onto my focus, and I'll close my eyes in prayer, and I'll be like, Shiva, guide me. And I'm going to cast Guiding Bolt at 5th level at it.
Okay. Roll to hit. And real quick, just keep your roll in mind. I just want to double check something real quick.
It's a range attack.
No, yeah, I'm double checking if it has to be a 5-foot distance or if it's just if you're within melee range of the creature. So I'm double checking.
It's 120 feet, so like.
Well, he's talking about the disadvantage to attack.
Yeah, but it says if there's an enemy next to you, so I don't think you have disadvantage on this.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, the foe has to be directly next to you, so yeah, you do not have disadvantage on this. So yeah, regular roll to hit then.
Does a 25 hit?
Indeed, that does. Roll for damage.
All right, so that's 8d6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I need 2 more. Thank you. Show me some love. Mama needs some love. All right. Let's help me out here, Jeremy, because I'm bad at math.
You need a calculator.
Or you can just use D&D Beyond,
How
the
much?
wonderful site that just does it all for
Okay,
you.
that would be 28 radiant damage.
Okay. You
Next
fire a
to
guiding
someone who
bolt.
has advantage.
You fire a guiding bolt and pierce into the creature's torso, and its robotic metal rib cage that, again, seems to be constructed from the skeleton of another creature, gleams brightly as the guiding effect of your bolt takes effect. It is now the creature's turn. The creature rears its head back. Lucian, make me a dex save.
Okay.
Just gonna yank you off.
That's cocked. Hang on. Okay, that's better. Huh?
I was just messing
Yeah, it's a
around.
save. So that's a what? Stop saying numbers. I'm counting.
+4, right?
19.
Okay.
Hear you, but I'm like focusing. So like, don't say numbers.
All right, that's a 19?
Yes.
Okay.
10. 21.
You know what, Austin?
Lucian, you watch as the dragon rears its head back, and you're initially prepared for it to start yanking you so you stabilize your footing, but you see a weird black substance beginning to build up in a pouch on its neck, and thinking quickly, you dodge to the side just in time as a streak of oil spills out onto the pathway.
Oh, trying to make it all slippery.
Indeed, you have avoided getting coated in the oil, but this area is now difficult terrain, and you have advantage on future dexterity saves. However, that was its action.
Give it advantage.
Or disadvantage, sorry, thank you. Again, I'm a little ill right now, so Lucian, what would you like to do?
I'll do another guiding bolt, this time at 4th level, because I only had 1 of the 5.
We're doing this entire.
And I have
fight?
advantage now.
Yeah. Well, and because A, it's probably not going to take that long, and B, because this is all happening before the dragons are going to get to Gil, Kero, and Raccoon, and before you're going to pry that thing open and take your shot.
One's going to jail. Hang on, one of them keeps getting cocked. Okay, that's not bad. 26 to hit.
That's a hit. What are you using?
Guiding bolt.
Okay.
6, okay. Come on. Be good to mama. Ooh, okay. So that's 27 radiant damage.
Okay. That was not correct. Again, yeah, there we go. 27, there we go. It's like silly calculator, it doesn't have that much health.
Not anymore.
All right, you fire another guiding bolt. It's basically because it's becoming this contest of like you wrestling against the harpoon in your shoulder and firing bolts of energy at it, and this thing like coating the ground in oil and mechanically shrieking. Is that the end of your turn, Lucian?
Let me see. I have bonus action. I don't have anything I can do from my bonus action, so yep, that's it.
Okay. The creature, let's see what it's going to do. Okay. Let me double check what this counts as before I do it. Okay. The creature lets out another. Lucian, make me another dex save.
Ooh, that's
And you
a
have
disadvantage, right?
Yes, because at this point the oil's making it harder for you to slide around and dodge.
Okay, that's not bad. Let me see. I got a +4. So 18.
Okay. It lets out another of oil, but at this point the ground's getting super coated and slick, but you have avoided getting coated in it once again. Although the same cannot be said for the hem of your dress and your shoes. However, the creature, at this point, you see it begin to wiggle its tail, and it's going to try and pull you over the side.
Shit.
Because that's movement, isn't it?
In the dragon's case, it can use that oil spray and then make a few attacks, which it didn't do the first time because it was just trying to focus on coating Lucian, but at this point, it realizes that it needs to fight for its own survival. Lucian, does a 24 hit?
Yes, it does.
All right.
Did you even need to ask?
Reaction.
Actually, yes.
Wait,
Some of the players have pretty good AC at this level.
What was it?
24 to hit.
Yeah, that's gonna hit. Even if I do my shield, that will hit.
Yeah, like that. Like shield can add a +5 to it.
I was gonna try to do shield, but it's not gonna be enough. Plus, I only have one level 1, so I need to have that just in case.
Lucian, you take 22 piercing damage.
Oof. Okay.
And
Maui.
as it starts to yank on the harpoon, and you feel yourself getting forced towards the edge, as it is now that it's secured its grip, going to attempt to pull you over the side for real.
Okay.
Does a 16 hit?
No, it does not.
All right. It has one last attempt on this turn.
Why isn't it a tackle? Shouldn't it be a grapple?
No, because this is technically the shove action, which takes up one of your attacks, but lets you move someone if you hit. All right, if a 16 hit, then a 14 definitely doesn't.
Well, I thought the shove action is a contest, right?
No, it says you make a special attack roll that uses up one of your attacks. If you have multi-attack, you can use it to replace one of them. Instead of making an attack roll, you make an athletics check contested by the targets. Well, regardless, Lucian's still up. But thank you for correcting me. I was not aware of that. I thought for some reason that it was just a straight... I think I was thinking of disarming. That being said, given that this mistake is in Lucian's favor, I'll let it slide. Lucian, you can feel it attempting to pull you over the edge, but it is not successful, although you are struggling to keep your grip, as, again, the ground is super slick at this point. What do you do?
Is it connected to, a wire or string?
Yes, there is a wire connecting it to a gun on its tail.
Does it look like it's, like if I had, something to, cut it, would it be able to, will I be able to, circumvent it?
You feel like you could certainly try, although it does look like it's made out of metal instead of typical wire, so it's not going to be an easy cut, but you think you can do it.
Aren't wires usually made of metals?
Well, bear in mind, because this is essentially a harpoon, which in this day and age could be made out of rope or even just string.
How badly hurt does it look?
It looks injured, although given that it took Caleb basically shooting its wings down, and Caleb can do some damage when he wants to. The thing survived that; it just couldn't fly anymore. You feel like your best bet. You are doing some damage to it, and you feel like if you kept this up, you could probably take it down on your own. The problem is what it could do to you as you fight with it.
Right, right. That is my concern. I'm gonna try to circumvent the wire.
All right. Make an attack roll at disadvantage. I will count this as essentially attempting a special attack, but if you manage to hit, not only will its grip on you be removed, it will not be able to fire that gun again because it does not have its ammo.
Mm-hmm.
So make an attack roll at disadvantage.
I will.
Okay.
Well, I won't say anything.
I'm sure with these kinds of things, if you hit, you break it, right?
Yeah, the idea is that basically you can make a harder attack in exchange for if you hit at all, doing some special damage. It's a homebrew rule, but one I like, so that fights don't just boil down to I rolled a hit, I rolled a hit, I rolled a hit. It gives the player some options to attempt like special attacks.
Do I add anything to it?
Yeah, it's your usual attack. You just have disadvantage. Just make sure that it's a melee attack, or whatever you intend to use to break the wire, and you're good.
22.
That'll do it. What are you using?
That's a good question. I know I have shit in my bag.
Wait, how'd you know it was a 22 if you didn't even know what you were doing yet?
Yeah, it's all +8s. Oh shit! I got my I got those doctor tools, but I don't think that would work.
Don't you have like a sword or something?
I do have a sword.
Use your sword.
I'll use my sword.
All right.
Why is it marked as a
Lucian, unsheathing the blade that you've very seldom used over the course of this adventure, you bring it down on the metal wire, and with some effort and a strain, as you can feel the harpoon digging into your skin, you manage to sever the cord, and the dragon lets out a as it reels the cord back in, its tail harpoon severed. Anything else on your turn, Lucian?
I don't think I can do anything else.
Okay.
Let me see here.
No,
that was my action, right?
Yeah, it was your attack.
Okay, I'm going to bonus action healing word myself.
Okay.
Well, actually, I'm going to do cure wounds. That's more.
Well, I mean, healing word, cure wounds, I think is an action.
Is it? Yeah, it is. So I will have to use my healing word because it's a bonus action. So that's 3d4 1.
All right, and while you're rolling to heal, I went ahead and rolled to see what the dragon was going to do next, which, looking down at its damaged tail and realizing that you're putting up far more of a fight than it really wants to deal with right now, especially when it has prior orders, it glares at you for a long moment before, with its connection to you severed and it too far away for you to get an attack of opportunity, turns broken tail and flies towards the rest of its flock.
Mm-hmm. Well,
the battle is over. However, the robots know you're here now.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna go try to find my friends, and I healed myself for like 17, but that's gonna leave a mark. That's for sure.
Okay.
Actually, before I go to my friends, am I by the cannon?
The cannon is on the bow of the ship. You're in the exact center where the central turbine is, but you can start making your way to the bow where you saw the cannon if you wish.
Yes, I would like to do that. I feel like it's a very stupid move, but you know what? Lucian promised.
Okay. And for my reference, are you going to be stealthy about this?
Yes.
All right, roll me stealth.
Okay. What is my stealth? Nice. That was a natural 20 plus 4, so 24.
Okay.
What the fuck is going on, D&D Beyond? Come on.
Lucian, you know the robots know you're here, so you start keeping low, and you decide to set out on the original mission you had put for yourself. And you're going to take that gun out. As you can hear it, let out another magical blast, and crater Capacitas below. At this point, the sun has set and night has fallen. Gil, Kero, and Raccoon dash across the city-sized ship to make their way towards Caleb, and as the mechanical robots start to bear down on them, and Lucian, with them drawing the robot's attention away and the pathway broken, you cross into that central kind of gazebo of sorts that overviews the whole ship, where you and Caro had been sitting by the fire and discussing what to do, and start sneakily making your way towards the other end of the ship. Opposite where the rest of the party is going, but you have your own objective you're planning to oversee.
Of my word, what can I say?
Zephyr, with Red in tow. Again, it's nightfall by the time you guys make it to the farmlands of Sundragon. You can hear cannon fire and the sounds of battle going all through the night, and the very occasional, like, distant whining announcements of Tropu and Brogdu from the airship, but they're too far away for you to make out clearly what's being said. The battle still appears to be raging. If your friends aren't dead, then at the very least they're not done yet. Very likely this battle will be going all through the night. As you and Red start to make it into the agricultural district of Capacitas, what would you like to do?
I guess we're gonna look for any sort of like any place that has relative shade or shelter.
It is night.
Well, I mean, like
Because remember, there's robots flying around looking, so it actually would be smart to find a place that has cover.
Yeah.
All right. Zephyr, you and Red start looking around and quietly exploring the area. Make me a perception check. I'll give you advantage since Red's helping you.
Ooh, cool. I'm decent at that. Advantage.
And because the sun has gone down, you do not have disadvantage on this.
Oh yeah, true. Fuck the sun. Oof. Natural 1 by first roll, second roll 12, so 22.
Okay.
You would have failed. Looks like Red's gonna save you again.
Yeah, I am kind of liking that running theme. Zephyr was like, man, fucking Red's slowing me down. Red saved him from getting caught scaling the walls and now is helping him find shelter. Your son takes after you. All right.
Being underappreciated.
Well, to be fair, that also seems to run in the family.
True. Fits. It totally fits.
Zephyr, checking your surroundings. It's a lot of land to cover, and you can't tell at a glance if any of these farms are even abandoned. A few of them you can see lanterns, but that's about it. However, Red, kind of grabbing you by the shoulder, points, and again, in Thieves' Cant, whispers to you codedly. Over there. Everyone else is putting their lanterns out, to probably to avoid the flying thing seeing them. But that one, no lanterns went on. Must be abandoned.
Safe bet. Try to go there.
Alright, let's go. Zephyr, roll me stealth.
That I am.
I find it
okay.
very topical that we have a war going on in the land of the Slavic gods.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm good at that. I got a 25.
As you and Red sneakily make your way through fields, parks, croplands, you make your way to the abandoned building that Red had spotted. And you carefully make your way towards it. It appears to be a relatively simple, essentially more of a hut than a traditional house, given that most of the central areas of Sundragon are like big apartment complexes. It seems like this is an individual who just wanted to live by themselves and didn't want to deal with anyone else, given how far away they are from everyone. However, you both notice a very unpleasant odor emanating from the hut. The hut itself overlooks a decently sized field, although it seems more personal than for traditional, like, selling them off agriculture. And overall, it gives you the impression of somebody who just went out here to live off the grid, which in this day and age was a lot easier. You can see other farms and stuff within viewing distance, but across a lot of desert and hills, so it's private, which is good for your purposes. The door to the hut is actually hanging open, and as Red pointed out, not only is there no lights, you don't hear any noise either, at least not immediately.
Is it the smell of death?
Quite possibly. Zephyr, what would you like to do?
Okay. Zephyr will kind of start slowly proceeding into the building.
Okay. Red quietly slithering along behind you. The two of you pass through the door of the hut. You climb up onto a simple wooden porch and make your way inside. You can notice hanging from the walls and ceiling immediately are what appear to be various animals that were hunted for game. But they appear to be dried and ready for cooking, so that wouldn't explain the smell of death. However, looking around, you're able to make out what caused it. You see a human man slumped in the corner, dried blood around their neck, and flies buzzing around their head. It appears to be a blonde man, relatively muscular in build, shirtless, but with a simple set of working pants. And as mentioned, from his neck, you can see blood that has pooled and since dried.
Seeing this, Zephyr kind of like relax at least a little bit, and just kind of get a survey of the area, like look around the house, see what he's dealing with.
Make an investigation check. And again, Red's with you, so he'll be helping.
Okay. Yeah, 13 and a 17, so 22.
Okay. Looking around, as you and Red survey the area, it appears that this guy was just living as like a private off-the-grid hunter. You can see, again, game animals hanging from the ceiling and walls, a very simple bed in the corner near where he's slumped, and you notice, however, that there is a hole in the ceiling. Not enough to prevent you from being sheltered, but enough to where it's noticeable. And you and Red, being relatively smart cookies, start to put the pieces together, at least to some degree. Given that the only robots that have been able to consistently make it into the city were the ones that could fly, it seems like one crashed through the roof of this guy's hut, and you notice Red kind of peeking around the body interestedly before pulling up what appears to be a short sword and kind of twirling it between their fingers curiously. And you notice it's coated in a weird-looking black substance. Not like the ichor, which kind of crumbles and flakes. This looks almost like blood, but appears to have stained the metal of the blade. It appears that this guy was either sleeping or about to be when one of the dragons crashed into the roof of his house, and he attempted to fight it off, but was slain in the process.
Better than I originally thought.
Most of the food in here, because you don't know how long he's been like this, appears to have rotted, unfortunately. There's not much in the way of supplies. However, there are quite a few weapons and hunting implements scattered around the various shelves and walls. Again, the hut is small, but you could see someone who wants to just live off the grid living comfortably here. And from the looks of it, if anyone has bothered him, they either didn't live to tell about it or didn't make a big deal out of it. So there are, again, several weapons and tools, but any food has either been eaten away by the flies or just rotted.
What kind of tools are there?
You notice mostly trapping tools. You notice a trap that you could set for animals. Various knives and such that are scattered about. Again, various weapons. In terms of mechanically tools, you can see with your investigation a set of cook's utensils, a set of leatherworkers' tools, a set of wood carver's tools, and a hunting trap.
He's gonna take all the tools.
All right. Did you write all those down, or do you want me to rattle them off for you so you can add them to your inventory?
All right. I heard wood carving. Add that to put it in the bag of holding.
Zephyr is going to turn into a hoarder by the end of this campaign.
I feel like there's a fourth one, right?
Yeah, cook's tools, leatherworker's tools, wood carver's tools, and yes, a hunting trap, which is actually an item in D&D. So.
Did you hear me?
Oh, what'd you say, sorry?
I'm gonna turn to a hoarder.
Oh yeah, he's gonna become a hoarder. I mean, yeah, when you're a thief, it kind of comes with the territory, I guess. Be prepared for anything.
Yeah, leatherworking tools and a bag of holding. Last but not least, trap.
Okay. Zephyr, as you take a bear trap and the various tools that still seem salvageable from the walls, basically looting this man's house, you see Red just start curling up on the abandoned bed and kind of push one of the guy's slumped arms off of it. And, well, seems like we can shelter here for the night, unless you think he's going to start snoring.
Yeah, it seems like probably the safest spot. And he'll try to look around for just a spot to kind of like rest in.
All right. And do you want to avoid the hole in the roof or sleep under it? Or how do you want to do that? Just so I know where you are relative to anything else.
I mean, yeah, he'll avoid the hole. I mean, he doesn't want. Last thing he wants those little birds to see him.
All right. Settling in, you plop yourself down in a corner, at least as away from the dead bodies you can get without being right at the hole where the thing presumably crashed in. The room smells awful. It's filled with, a corpse and rotting food, but you're at least content that you've salvaged what you can. And you and your son settle for the night. Red kind of offhandedly mutters as you two are settling in. You want me to keep watch? You think we'll be safe here for the night?
I think the chances of us getting caught are slim. The problem is the night's too long and we wouldn't be able to both take care of it unless we want to shorten our rest.
He thinks for a minute and, well, do you think that we're safe here, or would you prefer someone's keeping an eye on things?
I think we should sleep as soon as we can. That way, leaves less time to worry.
All right. Night, Zeph. And he kind of pats the dead body on the head. Night, corpse.
Night, corpse.
Yeah. Alright, and Zephyr will just kind of, find it. He'll kind of just find a spot and just let it go to sleep.
Alright. As night falls over the battle for Capacitas, 2 thieves sleep soundly in an abandoned hut, ready to rob the battle-worn city's vault the next morning. In the city, the warring city, the kobold sleeps tonight. A whimb away, a whimb away.
What the fuck?
That's how the song goes.
Well, yeah.
It's really not.
Yeah.
I mean, it's slightly different. The beginning was slightly different,
Also-
but the after part was.
Again, pretty topical. A warring
Don't.
city and
Poor taste.
Poor taste.
What?
Topics and comment or stuff and going on.
in the world.
Yeah.
As the moon begins to rise over Capacitas,
Has Caleb pried that thing open yet?
you will soon, don't worry. Gil, Keto, with Raccoon in tow, the 3 of you continue to dart, and I will say one last time before the horde descends upon you. Is there anything you want to do? As at this point, they're closing in. You can attempt to hide or just get ready for a fight.
Gil is going to try. Because it's a long shot. He's taking a piece of candy.
Oh my god, if our only way off the ship dies,
Well, it's not the only way off.
it's the only way we can survive.
I was like, Lucian can get.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, some of you will live.
I was like, if
Is
Lucian,
one person some?
I mean,
Well, there'd be 2 people. Zephyr's alive.
I was like, well, like Lucian, if Lucian can find you guys, then she can get all you off safely.
She can,
Can
absolutely.
she do that?
Yeah, because it can
Yeah.
cast on multiple people.
Okay.
Alright. Gil, roll me a D100.
Let's
Let's get-
see. 96.
Okay. Gil, you pull a piece of chocolate from the bag and swallowing it quickly, making a bit of a mess in the process. You have
Ooh, that's
consumed a
good.
chocolate of healing.
Alright.
You are instantly healed to your maximum hit points.
In like 100 hit
Hold on.
points. Yeah, that did. See, it worked out. Wow, that
Kato?
crap.
You're at full health.
What crap? 96.
Anything from you, Caro, before the horde
No.
descends?
I guess we'll just have to be ready.
Okay. You guys have been running for hours. You're at effectively the base of the headquarter blimp, where Caleb had taken the lift. You're effectively at one of the engines, but the dragons the patrol here the hardest, and they already knew you were coming, and they descend. Gil, Keto, please roll for initiative.
I might have saved Gil there.
That's a 21.
23.
21, 23. All right. The order will be Caro, Gil, the robots, and let me roll for Raccoon. And Raccoon after. Okay.
And as this is happening, Gil would like to say one thing.
All right. What would you like to say?
We need to try to get inside the headquarters. These guys pack a punch.
Anything from you, Keto?
Well, we'll just have to back in then.
Okay. As the machines descend down on you, Caro, you're up first. They are 80 feet away from you and closing.
So, Matthew, a question.
An answer.
I know we are treating this as one, like,
Cohesive
entity.
monster, yeah.
Yeah, but would Hail of Thorns do more damage?
Yes. Basically, anything that boosts your damage will still work. It's basically just I'm having to because later in the campaign there will be special rules for when you guys are fighting armies because political campaign it's inevitable. But I wasn't prepared for it to be this soon, so I made a special case for this fight. So yes, it'll still boost damage, but mechanically it'll just do what it normally does.
Yeah.
Which I believe still does boost its damage anyway.
Yeah. Well, I asked because it hits
Multiple targets.
the enemy I'm aiming for and everything within 5 feet of it.
With swarm enemies, which are a thing in the game, this doesn't do anything extra. So no, it won't do anything. It won't do anything beyond what it normally does here.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll be
Okay.
sure to flavor it accordingly. So, Keto, as you and also do bear in mind that for every shot you take, you use twice the ammunition because again, you're fighting a shit ton of robots.
Mm-hmm.
Keto, as Gil readies his axes, you have the range. You're the sniper. Roll to hit, or do whatever it is you're gonna do.
I'll try to do Hail of Thorns then.
All right. And I believe it's the attack roll, and then they make a dex save after it hits.
Yes.
All right. Taking your aim. Out of curiosity, do you want to flavor this as magic or just a special bolt? We've never really established if Caro just does straight up magic or is just like that.
I always thought she would just have like bolts that could like snap. Into,
So the Hawkeye approach.
yeah.
Okay, yeah. That's why I wanted to ask. All right. Caro pulling an essentially an explosive arrow from your quiver. You load up a shot, level, and pull the trigger. Roll to hit.
Okay, let me see.
A bolt says made by Greylock Orchard.
So 23. The dex save is 14.
All right, that is a hit.
Way before your time.
It's a joke. Only 3 years.
Also, just for flavoring purposes, I'm assuming you're using the plasma assault crossbow as normal?
Yeah.
Okay. And they failed the dex save. Failed the dex save. All right. Loading your plasma assault crossbow with an explosive bolt, a dangerous combination of edict engineering and your own. You level through the scope and taking aim at a dragon in the center of the flock, making its way towards you and bulging its oil sac. You pull the trigger and strike true. It failed the dex save, so roll damage accordingly.
And don't forget to apply poison.
They're constructs, so they're immune to poison.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I didn't specify what level I'm casting it. I was casting it at 2nd level.
Okay, noted.
6 whole damage. Wow.
Wow.
Okay.
It's okay.
And is that all the damage, or just with the is that one specific source, or just all of your damage combined?
No, it's all my damage, but it's piercing damage if that changes anything.
Which it doesn't here, but thank you for letting me know.
Mm-hmm.
And is that again? That's what the Hail of Thorns included.
Oh, sorry, no, that was the.
Yeah,
Hail
because I was
of
going to say
Thorns.
that seems very low with Hail of Thorns being
1
accounted
second.
for,
Okay.
especially
Wait.
at 2nd level.
Give me a second.
No worries, do what you gotta do.
Ellie. $14 then.
All right.
My dice won't
14
free me.
extra or
It's
14 total?
Total.
Okay, thank you. Leaves him with that much health. All right. Gil, you watch as Caro loads a custom-made bolt that you haven't seen them use that much, if ever, into the plasma assault crossbow, level it, and take aim and fire. And initially, the impact is somewhat dull. The bolt, simply guided by plasma, sticks into the throat of the dragon Caro had aimed for, which starts to fall to the ground and skid metal on metal against the pathway, and it struggles and fights against the bolt in its neck. And you can see as it rolls itself over, the broad head of the bolt is sticking out the other side of its skinny skeletal neck and gives a brief beep, 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 beep before sending waves of shrapnel into the air, which takes down several additional robots making their way, tattering the canvas cloth of their wings and sending them tumbling to the ground if they're lucky, or away from the pathway and down to fall to their presumable death in the desert below. Anything else? Anything else on your turn, Carol?
Does that take up both of my shots?
I believe Hail of Thorns is a bonus action, so you can still make a regular shot. You just can't Hail of Thorns this one, I believe.
Okay, I'll try another shot then.
All right, loading another bolt, having to be quicker this time, so you can't take your time to do a special one. You level, aim, fire, roll to hit.
25.
That's a hit. Roll for damage.
Why do I keep putting my dice up? Oh, dear lord. Oh, yeah, it's because of you, cat.
You, cat!
12 damage.
All right. Nice. By the way, I will say as a side note, if anyone has any unique flavor that they want to do, feel free to say. I'm only flavoring if you just don't take the initiative too. So if you have a special idea of what you want an attack to look like, just let me know. That said,
Okay.
Caro, leveling your crossbow. This time you take aim at one higher in the flock and manage to pierce it directly in the head, and you see the light in it, the literal light in its eyes dull as it falls down into the flock below and actually tangles the harpoon cord around one below it. And this starts this domino effect of dragons crashing into each other, tearing each other up with their sword beaks as they struggle to get free of the basically rat king of dragon robots that you've created, which starts to slowly tumble to their death. That the end of your turn, Carol?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Gil, you're up. Caro just did decently well. The robots are 80 feet away from you, but Caro has thinned their numbers pretty significantly with only 2 shots.
Shot.
Okay, so how far are we from the main the blimp that we were heading to?
The blimp that you were heading to, I'll say, given your current distance, I'll say, yeah, given that there's the engine to account for, it's about 100 feet behind you. But you can see the lift that slowly makes its way up and down, and the blimp itself is crawling with additional robots that, if they aren't jumping into the ongoing battle, are scanning, trying to find Caleb, who they're convinced is still in there somewhere, which they're not wrong.
Okay, so for the moment, and you said they're 80 feet up in the air?
Yeah. The blimp itself is 80 feet in the air, but basically the dragons are 80 feet away from you and closing. The headquarters blimp is 100 feet back, but then it's decently up in the air. You can either attempt to climb or wait for the lift, which is slower but safer.
So I'm going to wait for the dragons to get closer and save my attack actions for them.
Okay.
But I'm going to go ahead and bonus action rage and hold my action.
All right, and what are you wielding?
2 ionic axes.
All right. As Caro fires their plasma crossbow, you break out your ionic axes, and with a like a Jedi with dual lightsabers, but with a barbarian theme. Wait, as you activate your rage, ichor begins to drip from your pores and face as you enter your ichor rage form, and wait for the dragons to approach you. As the dragons close in, both of you please make me a dex save. And this is going to be before they reach you, Gil, because they're doing this a bit of a distance away from you.
Natural 20.
All right, Keto?
Oof, 10.
Okay. Gil, as you enter your rage and ready your ionic axes, you see, similar to what Lucian had seen, the dragons readying their bursting oil bubbles in their throat, and you manage to dodge out of the way, but Caro, as you're reloading your crossbow, you don't have time, as oil coats the surrounding area, which is now difficult terrain, and Caro, you are coated in oil. You now have a vulnerability to fire damage until the end of the dragon's next turn. But with their oil spray,
we had a decanter of endless water,
or a match, as the dragons close in. Gil, I believe your melee range is, with these axes is still 5 feet, so they're going to be able to get one attack in before bringing you harm. They are going to start swarming Caro, who's coated in oil. Caro does a dirty 20 hit.
Oops, I clicked off the thing. Yes.
Okay. Caro, you take 13 piercing damage and 8 fire damage. That's with your vulnerability applied. As Gil, as you had dodged out of the way to dodge the oil spray, you watch as Caro almost just vanishes in this flurry, screeching metallic fury of swords and canvas. And Caro, you hear this of swords against the metal pathway as one of them drags their beak along the oil ground to create sparks, and the fire reaches you and you're lit ablaze as you're coated in oil as the sword slices across your head as the dragons basically peck and shriek at you. However, as the rest of the swarm arrives, Gil, at this point they are within melee range. You may make your opportunity attacks. Bear in mind that because you bonus action rage, you cannot do your dual wield, but you can still do your normal amount of attacks with rage applied.
Okay, so that'll be 2 attacks.
All right, roll a hit.
28 on the
That's a
first
hit.
one. And the second one is a 27.
Both hit. Roll for damage.
The first one is a 14 and a 12.
Okay.
So a total of 26.
Okay. 26 damage. Gil, you wave your axes, and rather than the, albeit still barbarian style, but somewhat refined strikes that you've done before that were precision to some degree, you're just going in raging and swinging, trying to less trying to pull them off of Caro and more trying to annihilate anything that touches her. As dragons fly away to get their bearings and come in for another sweep, you slice one's head off, slice another out of the air, slice one's tail off, and then bring an axe down onto its chest as you basically just start ripping through the horde as much as you can. It took you had to wait until they were close to you, but once they were close, you start laying waste to them just as effectively as Caro could at range.
Woo!
That is the end. The Dragon Horde still has 2 attacks. They're going to attempt to attack you back.
Let them.
Does a 24 hit?
Currently it does, but I would like to use my reaction to use the tail swipe. It is. Yeah, it's a more or less it's an opportunity attack of some kind of form of the beast tail reaction.
Okay.
Where if it's within 10 feet of me,
Which
I
it
can
is.
roll a D8 to it and apply that to my armor class.
Okay. Roll and see if that saves you.
I just rolled a 6, which now has my AC at 28.
All right, so they miss. But that applies to 1 attack, yes? Or is it until the end of your turn or whatever?
Let me see. You can bonus to your AC equal to the number rolled. It does not say.
All right, I'll say probably for that attack then. So they're going to come in for the.
It's potentially causing the attack to miss you.
Yeah, the attack. So, yeah, that did save you from that attack, though. Gil, as the swarm starts to bear down on you now, your ichor tail emerges and taking on a less like the solid clay of ichor and more like stone. Your tail guards you against the swarm and starts like waving them off of you, which does force them away from you to a degree, but they bear in for another series of pecks and slices. Does a 26 hit?
It does.
All right.
Just,
Well, he's able to get his health back.
Meanwhile, he's
yeah.
like, "Hey, downtown."
Gil, you take 11 non-magical slashing damage, so your resistance does apply. So that'll reduce it to 5. So you take 5 slashing as they start slicing at you with their metallic wings.
Gil's just laughing. Like, come on, y'all did better than this earlier.
Okay. That's the end of the robot's turn. Raccoon.
Gil gets way too cocky sometimes.
Yeah.
It's gonna kill him, probably.
Raccoon's going to disengage and start running towards the headquarters.
She's gonna try to get run to
Of course.
my girl.
My girl.
And that's my girl, thank you.
Hey, it's our girl.
She is
Gil, Caro, you can just make out Raccoon slipping away from the horde and running away from the engine room and towards the distant blimp that hangs over your heads, where somewhere on there, Caleb hides and Brogdoo waits. Top of the round. Caro, you're up. You are surrounded on all sides at this point. They are within melee range, but you have crossbow expert.
Luckily for me. Okay. How far in the air are they?
Well, at this point, they're just next to you, basically.
I was just curious, like how far they were from me.
Yeah, 5 feet.
Yeah. This is unfortunate. So have Gil and Raccoon officially disengaged?
Raccoon is disengaged. Gil has not. You and Gil are basically fighting side by side. You shooting down robots and him slicing them out of the air. Raccoon is disengaged to, presumably go after Brogdoo herself.
Okay, I'll continue attacking them then.
All right. Roll.
Casually.
Oof, 12.
That's a miss, I'm afraid.
Damn. Okay,
Ow.
try again.
All right. Roll.
15.
That's also a miss.
Damn it. I've run my course of my good rolls.
Oh.
Caro, you shoot, and you are shooting them down, but there's just so many of them, and their numbers never seem to go down. And at this range, you're struggling to bring down more than one in one shot. So while you do shoot down 4 of them successfully, it seems like 8 more take their place, bearing down on you in a hideous, streaking mass of metal and cloth. Is that the end of your turn?
Yep.
All right, Gil, you're up.
Okay, so since I now have my bonus action, I'm going to use all 3 attacks against these things.
Roll to hit.
30, 20.
Hit.
30.
Hit.
and a 19.
Hit. And bear in mind that your final one does not add your damage modifier, although I should still have rage. So just bear that in mind when rolling the damage.
Which reminds me, I forgot to add my rage damage last round, which would have been a +6 total.
All right. I'll add that in.
Or 17 on the first hit for damage.
17.
13 on the next hit for damage.
13.
And then 5 on the next.
Okay. Gil, before you even start going in swinging, you could hear several robots that you had struck earlier either fall off the side or outright explode, as it seems whatever is fueling them is somewhat flammable. And you start slicing them out of the air left and right. You see one attempting to fly away and bring your axe to bear and tomahawk it through the air and strike it in the metal spine, which brings it to the ground, and you slice your way back towards it, picking up the axe again and just going right back in swinging. This is your... Caro is better at range, but melee is your haven. Is that the end of your turn?
At this point, I would then like to go over to Caro.
Yeah, which you're
And,
still
he's
within, like, just right next to them, so you're fine.
And he's going to use his body to give her partial cover for when they go to attack.
Sure.
Protect the frog!
Caro, as you're reloading in
The frog.
an attempt to keep them off you, you feel the attack start to stop as Gil, in their Ichor rage, has stopped in front of you and is using themselves to shield you from the onslaught of the swarm. And speaking of onslaught, theirs begins. Gil, Caro, make me another dex save from both of you.
I made it to the cannon?
And Caro, you make this at disadvantage.
Yeah, because all the oil.
Mm-hmm.
19.
Okay.
22.
All right, you both succeed. You'll take half from this. As the machines... Gil, as you start shielding Caro, the machines actually start to part a little bit. The swarm starts to thin. And both of you initially think maybe you fought through enough of their numbers to get them to retreat. But you see that they're actually just starting to circle you like a tornado. And you notice them, the ones at the bottom of the flock, are dragging their metal wings against the ground, creating sparks as the airship hits the metal of their wings. And the sparks are igniting the oil. Caro, the oil that you're still covered in. And Gil, the oil you are standing on.
Could I use a reaction
Depends on what it is.
to activate my rocket boots?
That if it doesn't say you can do that as a reaction, I'm going to say no.
Can't remember if it even says anything.
I think it just makes it to where you can use your movement speed as flying.
Basically, it can prevent you from falling, but I don't think the rocket boots have anything that'll let you, like, suddenly change position.
Yeah, it doesn't specify.
Alright, so no, I'm afraid.
Okay.
That's cocked. Okay, since you both succeed, you take half damage from this. So, both of you... Is my math right? Yes, my math is right. Gil, you take 12 fire damage. Caro, because of your vulnerability, you take 24. As the ground all around you, and Caro, your flesh ignites as the oil catches flame.
Do I see this?
No, you are 4 hours in the other direction.
Oh, well, shit.
So was that already halved, or was that the?
Yeah, that was yours halved. So yeah,
Okay.
between your vulnerability, but the halving from succeeding the save, yeah, you take 24.
Basically,
Gil, you take 12.
If they're vulnerable, wouldn't that double it? So if you half it, they just take the damage?
Yeah, which, yes, is what happened. Although technically, because the half rounded down, they actually took a little bit less. If you guys had taken the full damage, it would have been 27. But I halved that down and then doubled it again for Karo's vulnerability, so that's what I called it.
So you...
That makes 27?
Yeah, well, it's an odd number, and I didn't feel like doing super advanced math, and I figured like 1 or 2 damage points in any direction didn't really matter.
27.
Yeah, I was like, half that would
Hey, Karo, would 2 extra damage kill you?
No.
Then it doesn't matter.
I'm just thinking of the math question about really.
You round that down.
Do not question the almighty God DM.
That, however, that is the end of the dragon's turn.
Like, man, someone who likes math typically is like, man, that's interesting.
Yeah, it didn't quite work out, but what the DM says is what the DM says.
Yeah.
Well, and like I said, Karo even said that even if I did round exactly right, it wouldn't make a significant difference, so...
Yeah, but like, imagine if like at the end of the battle they had 3 health left.
Well, if that is the case, then we can discuss it. That is the end of the dragon's turn. Raccoon is going to keep dashing to get to Brogdu. They reach the base of the headquarters and start trying to work out a way up. Top of the round. Karo, you're up.
Dang. Raccoon had time to come all the way over here before Caleb got enough of a bend to shoot through.
Again, remember the factors we discussed. You have to stick your dagger in, start pushing, and then...
I just find it so crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Caleb's got some real determination.
Well, like I said, you're an assassin. If there's one thing you have, it's patience.
And then a quick question: with how Gil is protecting Karo, would that give her advantage on her attacks if she stabilized with him?
No. You would have to make the help action, which you didn't do.
Oh well, worth a shot.
Speaking of shots, Karo, what would you like to do?
Even then, I've learned recently that it doesn't help with range attacks.
You shoot them. Rep.
I forget. Did I get the materials to summon my beast?
Which spell are you wanting to do? Or rather, which ability?
Summon beast. I have the acorn. I know I do. I just don't remember if I got that.
Then yeah, if you have the acorn, then you should be fine.
That's pretty much the biggest one, yeah, the cost.
Yeah. The only thing you need is the gilded acorn. Everything else, as long as you have a focus, which you do, you can do it just fine.
Okay. I'm gonna summon a beast.
Okay. Kara, what is your focus?
I forget. Oh no. What did I say?
It's not a big deal. I was just curious. All right. Air, land, or water?
Air.
Actually,
okay.
Make character sheets for stuff like these.
I'll tell you what. Roll me a D100.
Ooh.
Use that
Summons
one very
another
often.
gold dragon.
Wild magic.
That'd be pretty funny. Where did I put? There it is.
100.
60.
Okay. Keto, for flavor, what does the spell look like when you cast it? I know you've cast it before, but just how do you want to flavor the casting itself?
I mean, yeah, I figured that, like, the acorn, like, glows and she throws it, and it calls forth whatever creature to it.
Okay. Kero, as the dragon swarm has at least gotten off you for a moment, you bring out the acorn, sheltering it carefully in your suit to avoid burning it as the flames on you start to dissipate. As you pat yourself down, you chuck the acorn at the metal, and it doesn't shatter, but like, yeah, it hits against the metal with a boom, and you put out a call for anything to come help you. Carol, this is going to be weird, but trust me. Roll me a d10.
Okay. What's the D10?
10.
2.
Gonna get a little.
Yeah. Things are going to get a little weird, but I think you'll like where I'm going with this. I just needed to check something. Okay, so you got a 2?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let me see what that gives you real quick. I have it written down. I just need to double check it.
Another dragon.
Can you imagine? Yeah, sorry, I just need a hot second to...
It is called Dragons.
Indeed. Be very fitting.
There's actually 3 golden dragons.
3.
It's a Hydra golden dragon.
Golden Hydra.
I know
Yeah.
I had this written down somewhere. I'm sorry, it's taking me a hot second. There you
Hey,
are.
You weren't expecting this to happen.
No, yeah, I had it written down. I just needed to find it.
But we managed to catch the DM completely off guard with our action.
Yeah, no, I expected you guys to, like, scope out the airship for a few days. Like, that's why it's so big. I wasn't expecting it to just turn into a giant battlefield. All right. So, a little bit of trivia. Since we've established that you guys won't care to look into Tropu's backstory after this is all said and done, Tropu has spent near of a decade researching anything that can give him the ability to fly. That's why he has the balloon pack that Gil just stole. That's why this airship is covered in magic items that grant temporary flight, but that's not enough for him. Before the Scar Concord gave him the idea of potentially turning himself into a dragon, he decided to try the next best thing. A dragon that is completely loyal to him and will let him fly whenever he wants. To that end, on this airship, there are broods of dragon eggs that are being kept and maintained by the crew, with hopes that when they hatch, Tropu will command their loyalty, and even if it's not what he wants, he will be able to fly at last, and have a dragon at his call. One of those eggs just so happens to be near enough to hatching. One of those eggs hears Caro's call. Caro, a blue dragon wormling bursts from an egg elsewhere on the airship and immediately sniffs the air and starts darting their way towards the battle. And it takes you a minute, especially this little creature is paled in comparison to the constructs that surround you. You see a clumsy, weak, little dragon wormling tumble and land at your feet, having answered your call. You have summoned a blue dragon wormling.
Is that a
Caro
baby
just
dragon?
hearts in her eyes. Caro heart edit right now.
So little.
They're called wormlings, baby dragons?
Yes. The creature shares your initiative, but takes its turn immediately after yours and obeys your commands without requiring an action from you. What would you like to tell the dragon to do?
Can it use its breath attacks yet?
No, it statistically it is still just the bestial spirit, but I'm flavoring it.
Yeah,
And besides, it was just born. That would be a lot to ask for it to.
it's true. They can do what my beast companions usually can, right?
Yes, it is literally just a beast companion, but flavored as a dragon.
Okay.
Because I was like, what creature would answer Caro's call? Then I realized that there was dragon eggs on the ship, so
I want it to help Gil.
give him the help action.
Yeah, get that advantage.
All right, Gil, on the first attack of your next round, you will have advantage as the wormling leaps to assist you.
Nice.
That the end of your turn, Carol?
Yeah, I
Bulgy
think
eyes.
that's all I can do right now. Yeah.
Okay. Gil, you're up. On the first attack of this round, you will have advantage from the wormling assisting you.
Gonna have those big bulgy eyes and
Well, thanks to that advantage, the first attack is a natural 20.
Okay. Go ahead and roll the other ones, just to see if they hit at all.
dragon.
Are you serious?
A second natural 20
Okay.
and a 19.
That hits. Roll for damage. 2 of these are crits.
Almost rolled another natural 20.
I sat here and
Well,
watched him roll
That's
it.
probably his plus. That's probably 19
And also,
with
That was
his pluses.
insane.
Next,
You
well,
trade
because
dice.
of one of my, because I leveled up, because if I crit, it doesn't just
Brutal.
double my damage, it triples.
Okay.
What is that?
It's, I mean, sort of. It's like a brutish thing.
Gil?
So that's,
Brutal critical.
We'll let you triple it.
well, it adds another dice of roll for damage, which
But we
pretty much
don't.
triples. Would it not?
Technically,
yeah, sure.
No, but since how Matt does it, it's wonky. Because technically it just adds one more
100
dice.
damage.
$28 on the first attack.
Okay.
Wait, no. I forget. Hang on. Do I?
You roll
Mo-
one dice and then you double it.
Yeah, roll,
I
double what you roll,
rolled,
add
I-
modifiers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you don't add the modifiers to the double.
$22. Sorry,
Okay.
on the first one.
Okay.
Wait, it's 22 on the first one?
All right. Noted.
22.
Yeah, I'm doing them as he calls them, so.
31,
See if you can get to.
Okay.
and then 7.
Okay.
Perfect 6.
Keto, even though you may not be this dragon's mother and you've known it for a grand total of 4 seconds, you watch proudly as the dragon immediately takes to your orders. And much like most lizards, dragons are relatively independent and capable right from the egg. So you watch as it scutters up Gil's back, and as he starts slicing through robots, one is bringing its harpoon down to stab him in the back. The dragon leaps and snaps the cord with its little teething fangs. And hearing that sound, Gil, you turn and decapitate that robot immediately and just continue to swing as the dragon starts chewing on the harpoon that falls from the dragon's tail. And you continue to make your way through. The swarm is getting thin. The now 3 of you have carved through a lot of Kaloom's creations now.
60 damage in one turn.
Yeah. It is now the
form, quote unquote, bloodied.
easily bloodied. It is well past
Then
bloodied.
Gil's covering Caro again.
All right, in that case,
And the
Both
little
of
dragon.
of course, both of you make me dex saves, and Keto roll for the dragon as well.
Will the dragon just be a straight roll?
Yes, because it doesn't have proficiency and no dex modifier, so.
24.
Okay.
No, for the dragon. Okay. So 22 and 18.
All right, all three of you succeed. So as the next spray of oil comes to refresh the previous coat, you all manage to dodge out of its way. The terrain is still difficult, but you're not coated in the stuff anymore. And Gil, with you providing cover, the dragons are going to direct all their attacks at you.
Bring it.
I believe a 19 misses, yes?
It misses.
Does a 24 hit?
It does, but reaction.
All right.
For my tail,
Roll your dice.
adding a 7 to my AC, which puts me at 29.
Okay.
With that hit.
And the final attack, 17 misses. Gil, at this point, the swarm is getting thin enough that you can start focusing on parrying and dodging individual attacks. You parry a harpoon with your tail, bring it down and cut the cord. You slice one out of the air as it attempts to do a flyby. And at this point, you're managing to avoid pretty much the grand bulk of this swarm. That's the end of the dragon's turn. Keto, you're up. The swarm is weak. They're down to their last few numbers, and no more seem to be forthcoming.
Okay, I'll shoot at him then.
All right. Keto, roll to hit.
Uh, 21.
That's a hit. Do you want to roll the other one now, or just go ahead and roll damage?
I'll roll the other one, yeah.
All right. Roll.
Can we just talk about the fact that 2 of our party are currently defeating a swarm that defeated a gold dragon?
Yeah. Granted, the gold dragon also had the airship itself attacking them with fucking siege weapons, but yes.
Mm-hmm. The other one missed, so.
All right. You managed to strike true with one of the strikes. Roll for damage.
Okay, that was a 8.
Is it a Hail of Thorns attack?
No, I've been burning my spell slots, so.
All right. Keto, one of your attacks still goes wide, as again, at this point there's less targets to hit and they're flying around fast and panicked. But your next strike manages to connect and it rolls against the ground and manages to snag another out of the air with the tip of its harpoon, and this like rough and tumble of the robots start tearing each other apart in a frenzy, and your dragon jumps into the fray and starts just like tearing off bits of their wings, almost treating it like a toy. What is your dragon going to do?
Caro nods at the dragon with like pride, but also
It's gonna be some Game of Thrones shit right here.
I mean, yeah, actually. I was not planning for it, but it's so fitting that Dragons is going to end with Caro getting a pet dragon.
Caro's horde.
Sure, it'll have a better ending.
Matthew, it's literally come my animal.
Yeah, you have a spider, a dragon, a tiger, and and 6 raptors.
Oh, don't forget about the other boy.
Yeah, the one.
Yeah,
Which other
the-
one?
Yeah, the one. That,
Mimus.
Oh yeah, the Suchomimus. Good point.
Okay.
Carol's just gonna like
Oh, it has
retire in the country with her animals.
A fucking menagerie.
Yeah.
So yeah,
One
Caro.
day they'll come by here and there'll be an old frog just sitting on a rocking
get her a
chair
straw
with
hat.
fucking
Sitting on a little lily pad.
sitting on a lily pad, and then just around this little lake, there's just freaking dragons, tigers.
Suchomimuses, velociraptors, spiders. All right, Caro, what is your new son going to do?
That is a good question. It doesn't provoke opportunity attacks, which is cool. I guess we'll just maul them. It's literally called maul.
Yeah, maul. All right, roll the hit.
Which wait,
Mauled by a
so
wormling.
where is my attack modifier?
Okay, so your spell attack modifier is +6, and what level did you cast this at?
Second level.
All right, so this will do 1d8 plus 4 plus you did a second level?
Yeah.
+2.
So plus 1d8 plus 4 plus 2, so 1d8 plus 6 piercing if it hits, and you have a +6 to hit.
19.
That's a hit. Roll for damage. So yeah, 1d8 plus 6.
9 damage.
Okay.
Now you can make a.
The swarm is on its final legs as your dragon starts literally snagging them out of the air. Already a formidable predator, even though it's only been alive for like 12 seconds, and it starts yanking them out of the air and again just tearing them apart like a chew toy. The swarm is on its last legs. Gil, you're up.
All 3 attacks.
Roll, roll, roll.
Rolling.
Christmas?
It is.
It's fucking.
What's a natural 20?
Go ahead and roll damage for this before anything else.
Kill them.
This is the dice I got him for Christmas.
Yeah, and hey, Christmas spirit shows apparently.
31.
Gil, how do you want to finish the battle?
So, pretty much for the end of this battle, he's going to activate his boots just enough to get up into the air a little bit, and he's just going at these things, chopping left and right. He's leaving no survivors. Like, he is chasing them down.
Okay. Gil, as you start chopping dragons apart, Caro, you shoot down the last few survivors that attempt to flee, and your dragon continues to maul the ones that are powering down. Their fuel and oil draining from their bodies like pooling blood. And as Gil, you tomahawk the last survivor, the two of you turn, the dragon just mindlessly chewing on the harpoon, and you see Raccoon already halfway up to the blimp, scaling upside down up the rope, trying to make a stealthier approach than taking the lift as Caleb had.
Well, that was fun. We should go help Raccoon.
Yes, it's true. She will grab the little dragon.
God.
Question: how fast is Caro walking? Like how fast can she go?
Regular 30 feet, I assume, Caro?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she can just go regular 30 feet.
Stuff her under your
actually,
armpit.
she's actually
while
slower.
he's
She's
holding the
25.
Oh, okay. Yeah, 25.
Yeah, like because little
So
frog
while
boys
she's
are
holding
slower.
the dragon, I'm going to pick up Caro, and he's using like all of his movement to keep going
Okay.
until we get to the bottom of the blimp.
Okay. That being said, Caleb, it's been hours of you going at this, but you finally essentially carved a hole wide enough in the vent to stick your laser rifle through and fire, and you can still make out the barely visible crest of Brogdu's head. Every so often you'll see a goblin go in there and give him a report on something, and those of you outside hadn't seen this as you had been focused on the battle. The airship is shaded as Caleb, moonlight starts to break into the blimp as the top of it begins to mechanically open. And all of you can see the gold dragon's body being hoisted over the balloon. And the goblins are readying the harpoons to drag it down and put it through whatever procedure Brogdu has in mind to allow him to do what Tropu had wanted and take its body for himself.
I guess it's now or never.
I will freely admit, Caleb, you do not have disadvantage on this anymore, but you are going to have to make one of the best shots in your life if you want to make this. He has 3/4 cover, is really far away from you, behind bulletproof glass, and you have to hit a target that is essentially roughly the size of your hand.
He has a +5 to his AC. And I'm assuming he's disadvantage.
Is it disadvantage?
This room is not big enough to provide disadvantage, and you did open up the vent enough to do so. And I believe because you're, assassin, he obviously doesn't know you're there. You've been avoiding his notice for this long, so I will still allow this to count as a surprise since you avoided being seen.
I just gotta roll really fucking well.
I believe in you. You got this.
So does he have advantage or disadvantage?
I can't think of anything that would give him disadvantage because he's avoided being seen, carved open the vent, and the room's not big enough on its own to provide disadvantage.
Here's what I'll say. If I... Because he's been working on this so long, if I take the chance and roll another stealth to see if they saw him, do I get inspiration? You don't have to. You don't have to. Don't feel pressured.
Yeah. Okay, I'll tell you what. If you really take your time to line up, basically you're gonna have to wait another few minutes. But if you're willing to do that, I will allow you to have inspiration for this roll.
Okay. I guess.
But you don't know what's gonna happen in those few minutes.
I mean, surely. Okay. Intelligence roll to see.
Sure, I'll allow that.
Intelligence roll to see, if he could think of anything that could go wrong in just a couple more minutes of taking his time.
That's him just.
That's gonna be an 18.
Seeing that they're about to deposit the body and fire the harpoons, Brogdon has to leave that room at some point. If you wait, he might just get up and make the shot easier. However, it is also possible that he will refuse to leave the room until you have been found. So basically, it's a bit of a coin toss. He'll either get cocky, stand up, and make the shot easier, or he'll be cautious, and you could be sitting there all day, and you will either get found or have to take the shot as is.
Alright, he's gonna make sure of the shot, but once he's sure of it, whether he's standing or not, Caleb is taking it.
Roll me stealth.
Do I get advantage at this?
This one isn't sound-based, so no. You're just trying to avoid being seen at this point.
That's gonna be a 24.
Okay. Caleb, you take your time and you wait. Lining up your shot carefully, not even sticking it through the...
I swear, if you freaking be and that is where we're going to end tonight's session, I'm gonna be so pissed.
I promised you a finale, didn't I? I even put it in the tweet and everything. Alright. Gil, Kato, you watch as Raccoon climbs up to the bottom of the headquarters and disappears over the side. You can try and take your chances with the rope, which could be stealthier but more dangerous, or wait for the lift, which is safer, but A, slower, and B, you pretty much aren't going to be able to make your way sneakily. And Caleb never did deal with that guard waiting in front of the door.
Can they fly?
Gil can.
And he's
Well,
holding Kara,
actually, by this point, he's probably running on empty.
Yeah, he's running on fumes.
I mean, have you been flying this entire time?
He's been flying for quite a bit.
Because remember, he flew up here, has flown across several miles. At this point, I would say at best, he has maybe 10 minutes of fuel left. Maybe.
How dexterous does Caro look?
I mean, Caro's a sniper.
And they got don't frogs have sticky feet?
Indeed. At least Caro in particular does, being a tree frog.
Should we take the ropes? I got a little bit more fuel left in these boots. So I could fly us up there. But there's always a chance that we're still going to get seen.
We can take the ropes.
Sure, ropes it is.
She's gonna put the dragon on her back and hope that it clings to her.
Okay.
It can fly, but or I assume.
Yeah, I can use summon to flying spirit, so yes.
Yeah. But it's probably tiring, so.
Especially with its just hatched wings. Gotta build up those wing muscles.
So what do we have to roll for this?
Make me an athletics or acrobatics check, your choices.
Is Raccoon fighting something?
Indeed. The snake guard's still there, and she doesn't appear to be interested in stealthing, and even if she was, how is she going to sneak past it to get through the door?
Okay, so that is a 28 on my acrobatics.
Okay, Caro?
17.
One more time?
17.
Okay.
And I do want to be stealthy.
Caro, do you as well?
I'll try.
Roll me stealth.
It's myself modifier.
Natural 20.
Take those dice away.
Why? These are good dice.
Oh,
Trade you dice?
Although you
They're metal dice.
Oh yeah, wait, I have to do this again.
So it's a natural 20, total of 28.
Okay.
the only type
I
of
got a
dice I
15.
can't make.
17, Caro?
15 for stealth.
Oh, 15. Thank you. Okay. Just double checking what Caro is about to do to this robot exactly.
Kara?
You mean raccoon?
Yeah.
Oh, Raccoon. Yes, thank you.
I was like,
They're both green, so.
wow.
They're both green and small and adorable.
Wow.
All right.
Matthew. Are you saying
they-
all green skins look alike?
Whoa!
It's a shade. It's the shade of green.
Wave of Thunderous Force, con save, success save, unsecured objects, spell. Okay. And that is damage.
Apparently they did 25 thunder damage. According to D&D Beyond.
Caro, Gil, as the two of you start quietly, essentially like sailors getting on board a ship, sling yourselves over the ropes and start climbing your way upside down up them. You hear above you, Raccoon, not afraid, not even necessarily angry, the stern tone one would take when scolding a child. Get out of my way! And she's going to cast Thunder Wave, and all of you within 300 feet hear a thunderous boom as the entire blimp rattles with the force of Raccoon's voice.
Gil is so proud right now. This little girl is taking after his barbarian ways.
Barbarian.
Caro, Gil, make me additional acrobatics or athletics checks because that spell just really fucked up the ropes tying the blimp to the ship. So your Raccoon may knock you off to your death. Roll
23.
Sound echo around in the vent.
26.
Oh, yes, absolutely it does. All right. Gil and Caro, you both managed to maintain your grip, clinging tightly to the ropes as Raccoon's voice nearly causes you to fly off. And you can see the ropes are actually struggling to like keep their the knots that are tying them to the rest of the airship. And yeah, Caleb, you can hear Raccoon's voice echoing all throughout the area in just this like a bomb went off.
Also, I feel like that would probably hurt his concentration on this shot.
It does a little bit, but you've taken shots under worse conditions.
Matthew, am I at the cannon yet?
Unfortunately, not yet. Sorry. Gil and Carol were already halfway to their destination by the time you got on the ship.
You'll get there.
Yeah, you'll get there, don't worry. The serpent is going to attempt to hypnotize Raccoon, who is immune to it. Raccoon is going to cast Knock to open the airlock that's separating her from Brogdoo.
He's doing a whole lot of loud spells. That's also like it also just has like a big cold.
Yeah. Caleb, you can hear another thunderous boom echo through the blimp, and a part of you wonders what the hell is going on out there. But you see the goblins starting to mumble amongst themselves in panic and start to drift away from the harpoon guns. And Brogdoo, as one of the goblins informs him of the situation, just kind of gestures vaguely from under the desk that he's cowering behind. And you can see the goblin hand him the intercom system before his tinny voice echoes. We have an intruder at the airlocks! Destroy her!
Oh, you just fucked up, dude. You touch that little goblin, he's coming after you.
We could probably make a logical conclusion that if Raccoon is doing this, that swarm must be gone by now.
Quite possibly. However, there are still the dragons that are currently depositing the gold dragon's body into the blimp, which are like lowering it in now.
Plus all the dragons, or all the creatures within, crazy amount of feet.
Gil, Kato, as you reach the headquarters blimp and start hoisting yourself onto it, you see Raccoon already disappearing behind a door that seals shut behind her. And the serpent cranes its head, its body looking mangled and damaged from the volume of Raccoon's voice, and it lets out a low as it flares its mechanical hood at the two of you.
I'm gonna smack it.
Caro, do you join in the fight?
Yep.
Caro, lowering your crossbow as your blue dragon wormling gives a... And Gil, you bring out your ionic axes and run forward. Caleb, you hear another thunderous boom as Raccoon uses Knock to open up the other side of the airlock.
Interesting.
And Caleb, you see Raccoon alone step through the front door. Brogdoo! And Caleb, Brogdoo, in confusion, perks his head over the side of the desk. Take your shot.
Caleb is going to hold for just a second to see what happens. But if it looks like it could go bad for Raccoon, he's going to take the shot and try to help Raccoon get out.
Okay. However, I will note you have inspiration because you took your time.
Yay. So you have
Brogdoo stands up as Raccoon steps forward. None of the goblins move to attack her, and the robots are waiting for orders. However, they're all staring at her. Raccoon is far outnumbered.
So they're not watching the Vin anymore, I assume. Indeed.
They assume that the assassin has been found. Raccoon strides forward proudly. As Caleb, you can just make out echoing through the vents the sounds of Gil and Caro ripping the serpent robot apart, basically. As the two goblins step and meet in the center, the dragon's hanging corpse suspended in air above them, blood dripping down over both of them, as the dragon robots wait to avoid, depositing their payload on top of their boss. The two of them begin to talk to each other. Caleb, do you want to attempt to eavesdrop?
Sure.
Roll perception.
That is going to be a 16.
Okay. As Lucian, you're making your way to the cannon. Caleb, you keep your aim firmly on Brogdoo, silently in the vents, but you take your time, and Caro may have not gotten the chance to make their peace with Tropu, but Raccoon will get the chance to make theirs with Brogdoo.
Basically, the first sign of trouble with Raccoon, or the first sign of him trying to go to put his plan into action, Caleb is going to try to take him out.
Okay. Raccoon steps forward with a laser pistol in hand, and Brogdoo takes a small metallic flintlock from theirs, as the two of them, almost like duelists about to duel on the hilltop, approach each other. And Caleb, you can just make out the echoes of their conversation as they talk to each other. You're not making it off the ship alive, Brogdoo. Not in this body, I'm not. And he looks up at the dragon pouring blood all over him. It's not in as many pieces as I'd like, but it's close enough. I've seen what Dr. Knight's formula can do. It should suit my purposes just fine. So, you're the assassin come to destroy everything that we've worked for. Everything I've worked for. You see Raccoon's ears twitch very slightly, and she doesn't give an answer one way or the other. You said you knew me. How? You called me Gecht at the summer ball. What? You want the satisfaction of an explanation? I'm about to ascend to a level even a god would envy. I owe you nothing. She aims her pistol between his eyes, and he pulls the hammer back on his. It's not that I'm not asking a question. I'm giving an order. I don't care if you're living or dead, or if you're a dragon or a goblin. Who are you? And who am I? Your name is Gecht. Your parents gambled on politics and lost. I took the colony from them. I should have killed them by all rights, but I decided to let them stick around as long as they got rid of you. With me having beaten them in broad daylight, and no heir to the throne to be found, you were the only threat standing in my way. So I told them to dump your sorry little green butt in the jungles, where, if I was lucky, predators would rip you apart. And luck was on my side, as it turned out. I died out there. You did. Till these maniacs decided to bring you back. I thought they were crazy at first, I'll be honest with you. Tropu approached me, said that we could combine our colonies and both get something out of the deal. He would teach me how to do an Ica procedure on myself if I helped him do his. Fortunately, he made the mistake of doing his end of the bargain first. You did me a favor, shooting him. Guessing that pistol's what did the job. And he kind of crosses his eyes to look at the laser pistol. I was going to wait until he had drawn the Ica from the dragon himself and then slit his throat. That sorry little cripple couldn't hope to defend himself. And then I was going to take the dragon for myself. But you may have denied me the satisfaction of killing that arrogant fuck. But I still get to be a dragon. Win-win. So there's your answer, Gecht. You're the exiled princess of a forgotten goblin colony who has now been replaced by robots. It's your family what's operating that cannon, firing on the people down below. Even if they make it off this ship, they'll be wanted fugitives, and they'll be gunned down by the Sun Dragon soldiers while I fly away with the prize. Who knows, I may even keep the airship after all. I was thinking of destroying it once I'd gotten what I wanted and killing everyone on board. But I may let them live just long enough for you to watch them try and run. He raises his pistol and presses it to Raccoon's stomach. You pull that trigger, or any of your friends pull a trigger, and this gun goes off. Take your shot, Raccoon. The two goblins are at a standoff for several tense minutes. And as if by unspoken agreement, the two lower their pistols away from each other. And Raccoon takes a step back, and he gives a wide smile. If I die, who's to command these robots to not just slaughter everyone? I didn't build them. Tropu didn't build them. They only take orders from the higher-ups. We just happen to have their best interests at heart. Something happens to me, it's going to be metal on flesh, and the goblins will be the first to go. That's life, Gecht. The stronger replace the weak. I replaced your parents. You, as you are now, replaced Gecht, and the robots are replacing everything else. And he stares up at the dragon body and lets the blood wash over his face, almost seeming to take pleasure in it as he runs a claw over his head and soaks the blood into his greasy hair. The least the world owes me is a body that lasts a little bit longer. Nobody ever said a dragon didn't lose survival of the fittest. The robots may have killed Sothis, but Sothis was too dumb to run. He may have pledged his allegiance to the humans, but I pledge allegiance to no one. Not to you, not to your parents, not to the colony, not to the ship, not even to the Concord. I got what I wanted. So we understand each other. Unless you feel like watching robots rip your parents apart before you get a chance to say goodbye, I suggest you walk away. And he raises the pistol towards Raccoon's head and pulls the hammer back.
Wouldn't Raccoon know that, like, the bulk of the, at least flying ones, have been completely destroyed?
They would know that, but there's still the serpents and the tigers, and you guys have seen that they're capable of building more, so it's not unfeasible that with what's left, they could potentially do some serious damage to the organic crew. Raccoon takes a step back, and the two not taking their eyes off each other, keeping their pistols trained, they start to back away from each other, and the dragons begin to lower the gold dragon towards the center. Lads, fire the harpoons. Keep it secure. Hopefully there's still enough blood for me to draw from. The goblins kind of look to each other questioningly, and Brogdu and Raccoon kind of survey the area, and... Well, what are you waiting for? The goblins don't move. Velociraptors aren't the only creatures that, when there's a contest of leadership, they'll take their time, wait, figure out what's going to happen next and whose side they should be on.
Becomes princess.
Brogdoo kind of rolls his gleaming eyes and forget it. It's a one-man job anyway. And he takes his pistol off of Raccoon and points it towards one of the harpoon gunners, who immediately put their claws up. And not looking to kill anyone today. Back off. I'll deal with this myself. He approaches the harpoon gun and, clenching the pistol between his teeth, he aims it at the dragon's neck and fires. All right, metal bastards, keep it still. One or both of us is going to start kicking. And Caleb, you watch as he pulls a syringe from his belt and starts climbing up the rope.
This might be the last chance, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, you don't know how long this procedure takes, but he does seem to indicate that he can do it alone if the crew's not going to help him, as long as the robots keep it still.
What is Caleb's choice here?
Caleb has to do some decision making.
Yeah. He has to decide. Risk.
Allow this individual to become possibly an unstoppable monster.
I wouldn't say unstoppable, but...
Or risk the lives of some crew that he barely knows, but he knows Raccoon knows them.
Yeah, it's Raccoon's family.
Mm-hmm.
Who've been strung along by the Concord, forced to fight for goals they don't want, and now are being slowly phased out by Kaloom's robots, and with full plans to just slaughter them all once they've gotten what they wanted.
Is there anything in this room that looks like it's some kind of control for the robots?
Make a perception check.
That's going to be a 24.
Looking around, most of this room seems dedicated to Tropu's office and the center area where the dragon, it was intended to be laying for the procedure, but now it's just being strung up in the air and held in place by ropes and cords. Like this grim, macabre museum display. But you do, while you weren't there to see it, I will say it was mentioned earlier that whenever robots were reinforced, they came from the other blimp headquarters opposite this one. This is the control center for the organic forces. The other is for the mechanical. As far as you can tell, there's nothing in this room that would be an obvious source of control for the robots. However, I will say with a good perception check and not much to report, as Brogdoo approaches the dragon with syringe in hand, balancing himself on the harpoon and climbing onto its severed neck and leaning on its shoulders like a horrible mutant little cowboy, it does occur to you that there is technically a third option. The party to draw all the machines to themselves. However, in your current position, the only way for you to do that is taking a shot. Whether it kills Brogdoo or not at this point is irrelevant. The goal is to deliberately expose yourself to the robot's ire. But in the process, with their commander either distracted or dead, the robots will be drawn away from the other crew, and at the very least, the party might stand a fighting chance. But I will remind you that even after Gil and Caro's fucking nice piece of work and the gold dragon breezing through them, there is still easily 50,000 robots on this ship, and more could be built at any moment. The odds don't look good if you.
Swarm, then?
Bear in mind, there was 100,000 when you first started, and more got built mid-battle.
So wait, they dedicated 50,000 to the simple act of dragging around that dragon?
That dragon's huge. Gold dragons are massive, and the robots themselves aren't that strong. They needed a lot of them to carry it.
Technically, we don't need to win. We just need to distract them long enough for the crew to escape however they escape.
Mm-hmm.
We just need to, and we don't even necessarily need to fight them, just keep them distracted. Basically take him on a wild goose chase for a little bit. And he cannot allow this guy to do what he is about to do.
Caleb, as you're thinking it over, don't worry, it's not about to be a game over, it's just flavor. You watch as Brogdoo, Raccoon unable to act without endangering their family, Lucian out miles away, Zephyr in the city, and Caro and Gil busy outside dealing with the guard. You and Raccoon watch as Brogdoo jams the syringe under one of the dragon's neck scales and slowly draws, not blood. Caleb, from your position and a good perception roll, you can see what enters into the syringe is ichor. And you watch as the dragon's scales, as the syringe fills, begin to slowly blacken. And pieces of its body begin to liquefy and melt and slough off, as if the very act of draining the ichor from the body is taking out what little was left in it. And as the dragon begins to literally melt into ichor, Brogdoo hoists the syringe and, with a broad, gleaming goblin smile, starts to approach his own neck with it.
That's now or never. Caleb takes the shot.
Roll to hit, and you have inspiration.
Which I will use. Okay, it's gonna be an 18.
You hit. Roll damage.
And it's a surprise, so it's an automatic crit.
Oh yeah, he thought Raccoon was the one who sniped Tropu, so he has no idea you're there.
Alright, so I rolled double, and I now have an action. I know, because of that level up we got, I have 5d6 in sneak attack.
Yeah, shooting Tropu gave you good practice with sniping with this rifle.
It all makes sense to level up.
Yeah, I thought about it.
Thought about it.
Don't underestimate me.
Yeah, Lucian was falling like, huh, how do I fall not?
Yeah, how do I not die here? And also, how do I get back up even if I don't die?
So wait, do we roll twice the dice, or do we roll dice and then double?
Yeah, again, it doesn't particularly matter, but I prefer, I think it's simpler anyway. Roll, double, add modifiers.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
The only part where it gets a little finicky is like Gil's brutal critical.
Mm-hmm. But even then, the damage difference was fairly small, so I'm fine with it personally. But if you think it's unfair, I'm willing to negotiate it for future chapters.
No, I don't know, whatever. I'm just saying that's where it gets finicky. It's all. Are you able to murder this man?
$63 damage.
Caleb, how do you want to do this?
I'm thinking he just kind of, because you said it's a kind of a tough. Well, actually, it's probably been made an easier shot by now.
Yeah, because he's closer to you out in the, because he's like basically straddling the dragon's neck and getting ready to inject himself with the ichor as it's starting to melt.
A similar shot to Tropu then.
Okay. Leveling your rifle. It's now or never. And in that moment, much like Zephyr, you've already long given up the name, you've certainly at this point given up the creed of a Tebadran, which is to always prioritize yourself over others. If it means stopping Brogdoo from escalating to the form he wants and the slaughter of relatively innocent goblins, you'll expose yourself. You pull the trigger.
Honestly, he was mostly just thinking, I can't allow this guy to do what he's going to do, regardless of what's going to happen after.
Oh, that's still, for a Tebadran, fairly selfless. Because, I mean, he said it himself. He was fine with just leaving the crew to be killed by the Sun Dragons and then just flying away in his new body. You take the shot. Your laser gleams through the air, and...
No, hang on. I want it to be a shot that he doesn't... Obviously, like, it's instantly lethal, but, like, I want it to be, like, one of those shots where he has, like, that brief moment to realize he's been...
Oh, yeah, sure. I was actually going to do that anyway. So, yeah, perfect. You don't aim for the head as you had with Tropu. You strike the hand that holds the syringe, but your laser carves through his palm and strikes him in the neck. And as his body bursts, he's still left conscious enough to fumble for the syringe as it's blown out of his hand. And the only bit of Sothis the Gold Dragon's ichor left falls to the floor of the room and shatters. As the body melts into ichor and the only cleanly drawn bit of it is gone, as has the chance of him getting what he wants. And he has just enough time to realize that before his gaze blanks and he falls back ass over kettle into the melting mess of Sothis's melting ichor body. The last you see of Brogdoo is a mast falling through the Gold Dragon's ichor before landing unceremoniously on the floor of the airship. And the ichor pools around him. The robots, of course, immediately draw their attention towards you. And Gil, Kero, as you finished off, Gil slicing off the head and Kero shooting at the power source of the serpent, you see an army of the remaining constructs making their way towards the headquarters. And Lucian, anarchist cookbook in hand, you make your way towards the bow of the ship, where you will find Raccoon's parents operating the cannon. And with any luck, convince them to walk away and destroy the weapon that's laying waste to your love interest city. And that is where we're going to end tonight's session. And with it, dragons, dragons, dragons as an arc, as the final dragon has been slain.
Level up number 2?
Indeed, you all level up. Brogdoo is dead.
Quickest level ever.
Yeah, right? Lucian, you approach the bow with anarchist cookbook in hand. Kero and Gil, you get ready to take out another wave of robots. Zephyr, you sleep, ready for a heist in the morning. And yeah. Brogdoo is dead, and because he did not get a chance to remove his own ichor, he will not transform, even with his dead body lying among the pooling ichor. Let me go ahead and get our outro stuff done. But yes, you all level up. Brogdoo is dead. And with it, Raccoon has, at least with some help, figured out who they are and why they were here, what motivated the Concord, at least to some degree, to create them. You still don't know why the Concord created the Ichor, what they intend to use it for, and what brought these people together, or who the lady who leads them all is. But you've at least all gotten some more information. Each member of the Concord was approached and offered use of the Ichor, and you've seen now what it's capable of. It is not resurrection. It is transformation. One life for another. Allowing a ambitious goblin or a crippled Tengu to take on the form of a golden dragon, if their souls be compatible. Where the Ichor comes from, why Dr. Knight created it, and what the lady wants with it is unknown, but you at least know now what the Concord is capable of, and what it may mean should you fail. But while the city itself still has an army of robots and an airship to deal with, you've taken out the commanders, and the goblins do not seem interested in further warfare. Indeed, they simply want to return home. If the robots are dealt with, Sundragon is saved. Get my stuff up, sorry. If you want to see more of my DMing, check out twitch.tv/GrahamCrackers, GrameCrackerz, for my Friday campaign, the Goldshine Investigations at 7 o'clock Central Daylight Time, taking place in the same campaign setting, featuring a party of investigators trying to unravel the cultish conspiracy that threatens to plunge their home into war. Tune in this week, where we will actually be having our Season 2 finale. A lot of finales with my streams lately. Everything comes together. Check out our website at officiald5hub.info. Resurrected from the grave like a filthy necromancer going to bomb a cannon and save a colony of goblins. Check out our link in chat to join our official D5 Discord server if you want to hang out with us directly, and support our episodes posted on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, Google Podcasts, and the iHeart Podcast Network, wherever you happen to get them from. For our audio listeners, catch us live on Tuesdays at 9:30 Central Daylight Time on twitch.tv/Odd Tornado Productions, or the Odd Tornado Productions YouTube channel if you want to catch up on what you missed. Check out Odd Tornado Productions official on Tumblr to find links to our other works, including our 2 kills for the price of 2 sessions Assassins Twitch channel at twitch.tv/Killer5. That is 5 with a PH for the record. Don't get it wrong. If you enjoy what we do, please support us on Patreon. That link's about to be posted in chat, or on Ko-fi at kofi.com/Odd Tornado Productions, and follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/TornadoOdd. TNO are in fact capitalized. If you want to see more of this party, please tune in Mondays to catch our Monday game, Under Locks and Keys, featuring a party of globe-trotting treasure hunters trying to assemble the artifacts of the gods to unlock what could potentially be a very valuable treasure or a deadly curse. One of the two. And we will be off next week with the conclusion of this arc. However, tune in the week after next at the same times mentioned, where our Monday game will be resuming with the new arc of Trouble on the Tabletop. And this campaign, the new arc, Honor Among Thieves, will be beginning. The party, as I've been told, intends to have some downtime after the business with the airship is concluded. So once Lucian has disarmed the airship, the last of the robots are defeated, which I think at this point you guys have more than earned an acknowledged victory. Gil and Caro alone were able to deal with a decent chunk of the horde. So I think with Caleb and Raccoon added in, you guys can easily deal with what remains of the robots.
Yeah, they were fucking...
Absolutely. Yeah. While some may have gotten more or less screen time than others, everyone was a badass. And with that in mind, Caleb assassinating Tropu and Brogdu before either of them could get access to Sothis. Zephyr sneaking into Sundragon under the watchful eyes of the patrols, with your son helping you along the way. Caro and Gil just being straight badasses, fighting literally thousands of robots by themselves and winning. Raccoon finally getting to resolve their personal business, and Lucian just taking the inconveniences like a champ and still insisting on following your role in the plan and helping the party, which is good because bear in mind the goblins don't know yet that Brogdu's dead. So someone actually really should tell them that they can stop firing and that you'll protect them from the robots.
The problem is, like, does Lucian know that she's dead?
Let's find out.
That is a huge problem. Lucian doesn't know anything about
No one does.
anything.
The only person who knows is...
Yeah, to be fair, even Gil and Caro don't know yet. But once the business with the airship is concluded and Zephyr has had their heist, while Gil gets surgery to repair their arms finally, the party will have some downtime. So with that being said, all of you put some thought into any proficiencies you may want to pick up over the course of the downtime or any personal activities you want to attend to. And then as soon as Gil is fit for duty, you guys are free to leave Sundragon and start heading south with intent to pass through Tebadra and start making your way to the Aegis Federation, where, with luck, you may just be able to rescue Zephyr's parents and Caro's only surviving friend from their previous party. That sounds interesting to anyone? Please be sure to tune into this table starting the week after next for the next arc, Honor Among Thieves.
We still got Lucifer's bullshit too.
Thank you, everyone at the table, so much for playing. Thanks, everyone at home, so much for watching. And we'll see you all the week after next.
I'm gonna have to make like 7 different plans. All right.